Well, it is officially noon, and that means Black Friday's over, I think. I don't know. That's the way it used to be. Now it's like all the way through December 25th with deals.
Well, it started freaking in the middle of October. Like,
Right.
I understood the original appeal of Black Friday. Like, all right, you do Thanksgiving on Thursday, you go to bed early, you get up at 4 a.m. so you can go stand out in the cold outside of Walmart or Target. Or I didn't do it, but I got it. Like, it's one day where all these places slightly mark down their merchandise a little bit, so you technically get a better deal with your Christmas shopping.
Right.
Now it's like, again, you can watch commercials. They've been doing Black Friday deals for the past month. Like, I ordered stuff the other day on a Black Friday deal. That was not on Black Friday. So I'm like, I don't, and look, I didn't drive past any major outlet stores today, so I don't know. I guess people still get up early and go fight over microwaves and stuff like that.
By the time I was driving by Target and Walmart and Kohl's and anything else, it was 11:30ish.
It's pretty
11:15ish. Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Because all the good stuff would be gone, right?
You get up, if you're into it, if you're still into it, you do what you just said, the 3, the 4 a.m., the 5 a.m., whatever, and you go throw bows, and you drink your coffee, and occasionally then you get mad and you throw your coffee on someone, and then you fight over a doll that's you're saving 27% on for your daughter.
Sure.
I've never.
She can unwrap it and tell you it's the wrong one at Christmas.
Yeah, it doesn't have the right hair. She wanted the one with blonde hair. You got the one with the brunette hair. Story of life. But, yeah, it's all over. But what that means, as we look up, it's time for football. It's officially time for rivalry week. Officially time, as Dusty Dvorak and Dave Pasch will get us going with a game that you and I may be more involved with in this radio show itself because of the storylines involved. Like, look, will it happen on my serious side? Will Lane Kiffin at some point just will they cut over to him and he's calling a play in an LSU hat? Like, he just has and then maybe in the third quarter he's got a Florida hat on.
We have to listen to his halftime when they ask him questions at halftime in his post-game presser, and we got to solve the riddle, right? Like, you take the first letter of every answer that he's going to give, or he might have like a cup that's like blue. Yeah. Or I guess purple if you're talking about LSU or something like. He might drop a Tiger reference in there at some point, or they were after us like Gators today. Like, I don't know. You got to like really read between lines. I want this to be as complicated and drawn out as possible. We never get situations like this. I want it to be the most Lane Kiffin thing ever. I think anything will legitimately happen? No. If we are to look up and he's calling the first ball play in about 10 minutes again in an LSU hat, I would literally just be like, yeah, that happens. The thing to me, because, again, the announcement decision, whatever you want to call it, is coming tomorrow. We don't know what time. We don't know by what medium. Maybe it's a tweet. Maybe it's a segment on game day. The thing to me is after this game is over, watching the reporters, right, your Thamels, your all these people that cover college football, what do they start saying? Because at like 8 o'clock tonight, if Ross Dellinger's like, hey, inside sources telling me Kiffin to LSU's done deal is going to announce it tomorrow morning, that's what I'm looking for more than like the announcement actually happening, because I feel like most things we're probably going to know before then. Or, you know what, is Lane Kiffin, is this truly just all in his head where he's going to wake up tomorrow morning and say, you know what, I want to stay, or you know what, I want to go. Maybe it's a situation like that we've just never seen before.
His decision tomorrow is going to be like, I'm going to Cancun. I got a 2-week vacation. Something stupid's coming. I mean, I just refuse to believe that we're getting to the bottom of this tomorrow. But that game is getting underway as we speak right now. Also on ESPN, maybe not as enticing, Houston and Kansas. They're also
Utah and Kansas.
Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah, Utah. I'm sorry. I looked up and
Utah's got need some style points if they want to make the playoffs.
Utah at 13. Yep, Utah at 13. They're on the road at Kansas. They're at David Booth Memorial.
To be fair, that does look like Houston.
I wasn't paying attention, and I was thinking about Houston later on, and a whole other reason. I'm still coming off of a high from the Players Championship, the Players Era Championship.
Yeah.
in which Houston got exposed a little bit, Michigan and Tennessee. Nobody cares about my post-Thanksgiving college basketball ranking, but I'm still kind of fixated on the Players Era Championship from last week.
Yeah, well, and it's one of those things. I feel like we do this every year in college basketball. There's one team that has maybe one or a couple dominant wins in non-conference play. You're like, oh, is anybody beating this team this year? Are we there with Michigan yet? Are we looking at Michigan and be like, is this the team of teams to beat this year?
There's nobody that separates them. This is my opinion, at least as, again, post-Thanksgiving and watching all the basketball play. It'll be a fun NCAA tournament. There's nobody that can't be gotten on any round. I always say it comes down to your matchups. And, look, I'm just a believer. I don't think the NCAA basketball tournament determines a true champion, like who is the NCAA tournament, the NCAA men's basketball tournament determines the best team playing at that time.
Yeah,
remember,
it's the best team in a tournament setting.
Right. Yeah, which is fine. It's cool. That's what we all understand and agree with, and we're perfectly fine with it. We are heading for that in college football, I believe. I believe we're heading for that.
Yeah, I think football's a little different, where I think the legitimacy of the champion's a little more accepted, where, again, in basketball.
Okay. Let me stop you, and let's play this game since we've got time in this segment for something I was going to do later.
All right.
We're going to go into the final weekend. Here we are. We're going to get not the final college football playoff ranking, but we're going to get pretty much what we got with championship weekend to be determined next weekend. If we go to the old system, Tyler, the 4-team old – I'll tell you what. Let me back it up.
Okay.
Since I'm going to do this. Let's go 2 old systems ago.
BCS.
Let's go BCS.
Which I loved.
People are coming around on that quick, aren't they?
I know.
Have you all of a sudden noticed how the BCS,
I was fine with it when it was taking place.
The BCS was the chunky girlfriend, the chunky wife who had alcohol problems and attitude problems and you know, some imperfections, and you were like, I got to get out of this relationship, and 10 years later you're like,
she wasn't that bad.
She's lost weight. Looks like she's cut back drinking. She's going, you know what? I wonder if she's willing to come back into my life now.
You start trying to get her to unblock her
all of a sudden, she looks a million times better than what we're dealing with now. But let's go back to the BCS system for 2 seconds here. Because as we start this today, and it looks like it was Mississippi going to kick off? No, Mississippi State's kicking off. Again.
No, that's Ole Miss. Ole Miss is in icy white.
Okay, Mississippi State's kicking off? Mississippi State's kicking off.
Kicking off. Ole Miss is
again, I feel part of me's got to watch this game because you just don't know what's going to happen at any moment. Lane Kiffin's going to call timeout, and the banner's going to fly overhead. You don't know with this guy. They're finally the first shot of him.
He has an Ole Miss visor and hoodie on, so
neutral colors too, all white.
Yeah, no indication of what he's doing from that.
The ridiculousness that is following Lane Kiffin. Let's go back to the BCS system. Let's call the season a wrap today.
Okay.
1 and 2.
The BCS.
Now,
era.
here I'm going to give you the top 4 of the playoff ranking because some of this matters. Ohio State, Indiana, Texas A&M, Georgia. What technically you would have to do in this scenario is say, okay, A&M Georgia's playing for the SEC championship. Ohio State, Indiana's playing for the Big Ten championship. Yeah. So out of those 4, who are you going with?
In terms of the BCS?
BCS championship, got to take 2.
Yeah, I'd probably go Ohio State definitely at number 1. Until proven otherwise, I think you got to go with A&M at 2.
Okay, all right. Yeah. So there's Tyler's BCS championship game. Yes. I got to be honest, best 2 teams in the country right now to me are Indiana and A&M.
Okay.
So that's who I would take.
Sure.
They're the best 2 teams in the country.
Again, if Indiana theoretically won the Big Ten championship,
I've taken them over Ohio State. Indiana. So that's our BCS theory, right?
Yes.
In that scenario, do you feel we have determined the absolute best team of the 2025 college football season?
Yeah, because those 2 teams would have made it through the season undefeated.
Okay. All right. No, I'm asking.
Yeah.
Eye test tells you.
Yeah.
Those.
If between those 2 teams, the winner. Yeah.
Don't tell me about it. I don't want to hear undefeated.
I can accept that. Yeah, and that was the beauty of the BCS system is that you had to be almost as perfect as possible to get the opportunity to play in the championship game. And same thing with 14 playoff. margin for error was razor thin.
So now we back it out. Ohio State, Indiana, A&M, and Georgia. All four would be in.
Yeah.
You'd probably get. Georgia wins the national championship.
Yeah.
Is Georgia, in your mind, the best team in college football in 2025? They are the fourth team in this thing. Is Georgia the absolute best team in the 2025 college football season?
Yeah, I think that would be an accepted champion because you would have made
Not
it in.
accept. No, I'm asking you: are they the best team?
Yeah, I think so. Because again, you have to take the context of winning those games within that, of beating those other teams. So
Right.
I would say yes.
Okay, I disagree.
Okay.
I still think Indiana would be the best team. They would not have maybe played. It's kind of, I still will contend, and I don't know if you're old enough or where your memory stands on Miami, Ohio State in, I believe, 2002.
Yeah. So it's 2001 2001 season, 2002
Okay, all right. Fiesta Bowl.
Fiesta Bowl.
Anyway, point being is, I would be like, no, Indiana was your, and I'm air quotes here on radio, was your regular season national championship. They were the best team.
The mythical national champion.
Mythical. Good point. Excellent.
Yes.
Excellent addition to my sentence.
There's a whole YouTube page. There's a whole Wikipedia page.
It's a very good point to you. Georgia won the national championship because maybe they got Ohio State in the Sugar Bowl. Maybe something happened. They got who knows. Now you back it out to 12.
Mm-hmm.
And this is where I'm going with this. And look, I will say this year, I think more than ever, we have incredible parity where anybody can win a national championship. I think Oklahoma, I do not all of a sudden, despite kind of being down on them all season long, I think Oklahoma's playing their absolute best football right now. Do I think they're the best team in the country? No.
Mm-hmm.
Do I think they can win the national championship? Yes. Do I think Texas Tech is the best team in the country? No. Do I think they can win the national championship? Yes. If one of them two were to win the national championship, I would be like, they won the tournament for the national championship. I don't look at them as the best team in college football in 2025.
And I think we would have to have a situation where you had somebody that was clearly, like Ohio State. Yeah, they lost that game to Michigan and then just went on a tear after that.
And they had two losses.
They had two losses, but one of them was to Oregon in a crazy game where there's some controversy at the end, and they lost to Michigan and then went on a tear after that. But nobody said, well, Ohio State's definitely not the best team in college football. So that was accepted. If you had like a 12 seed that put together a couple of crazy wins in weird fashion and won a national championship that way, I think people are like, okay, maybe that wasn't the best team. But I think overall, given the fact of what football is compared to sports like basketball, where the randomness is toned down just a little bit, having to survive that gauntlet of playing 3 to 4 games and winning a national championship, I think your champions are usually always going to be accepted.
803-404-6100 is how you can weigh in if you want to do so. We'll get in, obviously, to the Carolina-Clemson game.
Ole Miss up 7-0 earlier, by the way. Kawan Lacey ripped off his 20th touchdown run of the year.
Do you want this to be just a blowout, get it out of the way?
I don't know what I want. I think I want a competitive game because I think Mississippi State's a good, scrappy team.
I do, too.
But, I mean, if Ole Miss blow them out, I wouldn't sit here with my mouth open shocked.
We'll give our picks. I'm sure you've already done it. I put mine on the I did mine for the BigSpur.com and put it out there. And we'll compare our picks. I wanted to pull the upset for the Mississippi State. I wanted to take Mississippi State. I don't have the guts to do it.
That's fair.
I don't have the internal fortitude to do it. I took Mississippi 37-31 in this ball game. I am with you. Mississippi State is scrappy at home. Remember, it's an 11 a.m. kick out there.
Yes, early
and I
kick.
say that because who can get up and really get going? Well, it looks like
how much can you ring a cowbell with your stomach full from the day before?
exactly. Yeah. Some of us. How do you feel today?
I feel fine.
You don't
I got
feel a
leftovers in the
little
fridge.
like, and not hungover alcohol wise.
Yeah, I feel good.
All right. We'll come back. We'll get into that. Brian Edwards coming up at 12:30. You're listening to the Halftime Show.
It's all right here for our friends over at Tilly's Warehouse, first wine and spirit store to 5 Points in the past 20 years. Thanksgiving is over, but you got a full weekend of football action on tap, and maybe you're going to the game tomorrow. Maybe you're just hanging around with family and friends for the weekend, taking in those Thanksgiving leftovers. You need the right drinks to do that, and Tilly's Warehouse has got you covered. Locally family owned and operated. Tilly's over there behind the Salty Nut Cafe on Green Street. It's got everything you need for your fun night, fun weekend, or whatever is in store for you. G4 Tequila, they've got that. Garden and Black Vodka, they've got that as well. High Noons, Sun Cruisers, Surfsides, Cutwaters by the case, or ready to go to drink right by the register. They've got those as well. You can also mention that you heard this ad on 107.5 and get 10% off any wine selection too. Stay connected with them on Instagram and Facebook, or visit their website at tillyswarehouse.com for more information and discover why Tilly's is your new must-visit spot over in 5 Points.
Texter weighed in.
on our just quick discussion there about going back to national championships and how we're going to decide 12-team playoff if we have to go to 16 next year. Good
Which
heaven,
we will.
Heaven forbid we go to 24, right?
I think it's going to be 16.
You're okay. We're going to be with 16.
16 is going to happen. I've accepted it.
Okay. If we go with that, Texroid said agree with Tyler on that. I understand. I just you play the regular season and schedules are different. And look, I get it. There's not a lot of apples to oranges comparisons like that. Like, was it last year we looked at Indiana's schedule and we were like,
Yeah.
that wasn't a schedule, fellas.
Right.
You know, and so there's apples to oranges and all that. But I do feel like the more you expand out the NCAA football tournament, which is what it's going to be, the more you're hosting a postseason tournament that determines the champion, not of the season, but of the tournament. And that's where I'm going with that.
The champion can be the same of both. Like, you could still have the best team win the tournament. And I feel like in football that will happen more often than it will in basketball.
Yeah.
And for one, you just have a bigger field. And basketball, the margin between the top and the bottom in basketball, and even like the top of the tournament and the bottom of the tournament, is a lot smaller than it is in football. Like, whoever the G5 team is that plays in this thing is going to be nowhere in the stratosphere of whoever the number 1 seed is.
Yeah. And last night, we successfully eliminated Memphis from any and all discussion in case he decided to want to be a part of it.
Right.
So they are out after losing to Navy. Also, Johnny, who's never listened to the show clearly, and Tyler, you'll I think laugh at this. Johnny says, "Tell Bill not to make everything all about him. People don't hang on his every opinion, self-absorbed." That's not true.
You don't get the show, man.
I am A, self-absorbed. B, it's all about me. I've said that on previous shows. Welcome to the program, and thank you for tuning in today to learn all about our station and listen to us. 803-404-6100.
Like the song says, Lord, it's hard to be humble when you're perfect in
That's
every
right.
way.
Yeah. It's difficult. It's difficult. I'm having to relearn all over again. I've been humbled by health, but I'm learning all over again. You've got an interesting story, and we got an update on Mississippi State.
Yeah, so Mississippi State just tied it up 7-7 about halfway through the first quarter, and I saw, as I was doing my show earlier, I could see.
We both saw this, and I couldn't find it to confirm it, to read it out loud.
Lane Kiffin, the SEC network, was doing all the pregame stuff with the Egg Bowl, and I saw he was talking to Marty Smith, and I couldn't hear it. I was just seeing it on the TV, but this has been tweeted out now that he said in that interview that apparently some Mississippi State fans had broken in to Ole Miss's locker room at about 3 a.m. and stole Trinidad Chambliss' jersey, and they know this because they set up cameras in the dressing room, I guess. And I mean, were these people wearing Mississippi State gear to specify that they were Mississippi State fans? I don't know, but that is per the Lane Train himself on the SEC network, apparently. Egg Bowl, man. College football.
It's one of the more. Where did it fit? Where did Egg Bowl fit in your rivalry?
It's a good question. Let me find the list real quick because the trophy is quite literally just an egg. Gosh. Egg Bowl. I think it's the Golden Egg Trophy. Is that it? I'm having trouble finding it. Give me a second. Okay, 47. It was actually right behind the bottom trophy.
Really?
Yep. I mean, it's an egg. It's unique. But
it's unique, yeah.
It's an egg.
I'm surprised you'd have it that low.
Listen, the ones at the top of my list are very creative.
Okay, all right, I'll give you that. Underrated rivalry, though, right?
Oh, yeah, well, and I think...
And it got attention real quick and you mentioned this, I think, Wednesday, for where it was played on Thanksgiving night, where we caught more of it.
Right, and it always, in this, what's happening today with Lane Kiffin and apparently jerseys being stolen, it's always weird. In some kind of way, there's always something quirky. You had the dog peeing celebration thing that set off dominoes that drastically altered the entire landscape of college football, 6-7 years ago, whenever that was. Like, this game always has weird elements to it, and the coach of the team that's destined for the playoff deciding if he wants to stay or not is the latest layer of that.
This is a unique layer. Yeah, I'm trying to... Honestly, if you go back through the Egg Bowl, and we'll get to Carolina Clemson here in a minute. We got a whole bunch of time to get to that. We got Brian Edwards coming up, too. There's weird things that happen in this game.
Oh, it's phenomenal.
Like you go back in the
SEC storied the what was it, the Saturdays down south?
Yeah.
And the field goal that the wind blew backwards.
Mm-hmm.
A couple of years ago, you had, was it the Mississippi State player that we're using radio, and I have to choose words carefully, acted like a dog and urinated?
No, it was Ole Miss. It was Elijah.
Was it Ole
Moore.
Miss?
It was
Okay.
Elijah Moore, and that was the game that
And
got.
it cost somebody's jet.
Yeah, Matt Rule. Not Matt Rule.
Joe Moorhead?
No, not Joe Moorhead. Matt Luke. Matt Luke was the coach at. Ole
Oh,
Miss.
he's the interim. Yeah.
Yeah, that got him fired, which set off a whole other chain of dominoes. And yeah, it was it was Matt Luke. Anyway, it set off a chain of events that drastically altered the landscape of college football.
Okay. I'm with you. 803-404-6100. Kev says should be 8. If you're not in the top 10, you aren't good enough to really deserve a chance. It won't happen, but it should be. And a G5 should be undefeated. They get the 8 spot if nobody's undefeated in G5. You agree with that?
I don't disagree with it. And
Okay.
look, but here's the thing. Like, we're already at 12. We're going to go to 16. We can desire 8 or 4 all we want.
Yeah,
It's not going to happen.
I
They're not
agree.
going to downsize this thing. It's only going to get bigger.
You're saying they're not going to listen to the halftime
They're
show
not going to listen to the halftime show. Look,
or our texters.
I had no problem with BCS. I had no problem with 4.
Okay.
12's fine. We're going to go to 16. I've accepted it.
803-404-6100. We'll come back. Brian Edwards, I think, will join us. He's had Twitter issues. He got hacked. He went from tweeting about games to take the crypto. Went on a big crypto tweet.
Yeah, I got a DM. I was wondering what happened.
I talked to him yesterday. He's like, "Yeah, I'm finally getting my Twitter back. It's nice." So I think we'll catch up with him next. You're listening to the halftime show.
12:33 on a Friday, a post-Thanksgiving Friday, where hopefully everybody had a great day. How did you do your turkey yesterday?
I don't remember how they cooked it. It was my brother-in-law that did it because we went over to my sister in their house, and it was good. I didn't ask him how he did. I think he fried it.
Okay.
That's what it tasted like.
All right.
But I got some more in the fridge for later.
Okay. And Brian,
I got a plate ready to go.
Brian Edwards joining us, and Brian, all on your Twitter, all that crypto money you've been making. Did you have like just 9 turkeys? Or did you just have chefs coming over, doing them all the different ways? Is that what I understood from you yesterday?
So I got my Twitter in 2009, and I had never been hacked before until a week ago today. I got hacked. I got access all over again on Tuesday, but that lasted until when did I get hacked again? Was it yesterday or the day before?
Hacked on Thanksgiving, man. That's brutal.
I can't. Yeah, I think it was yesterday. Yeah, I think it was yesterday. That I get hacked again. And so, yeah, there's a new pinned tweet talking about Bitcoin, and that's obviously not me. And I've reached out to Twitter, and I'm doing my best. But I've understood nightmare stories. Somebody told me they haven't had theirs in a month from getting hacked. So hopefully I'll have it back in the next few days. But, yeah, the Bitcoin stuff's not me.
Okay. All right. So never mind. So it turns out you aren't a multimillionaire that doesn't need to do radio shows, and you didn't have 9 chefs preparing turkeys in 9 different ways. I got you. Anyway, well, number one, I hope you had a great Thanksgiving. Real quick, as we were in the break, this is coming out about 30 minutes ago. Chris Lowe with On 3 Sports is reporting Lane Kiffin will choose between LSU and Mississippi. Florida no longer in the race. You got kind of an update? You got kind of an idea on where Florida may be leaning with their head coaching situation?
I've been told Summerall at Tulane, Fish at Washington, or why am I blanking on this? Brent Key at Georgia Tech. None of them really excite me, and Starkville Scott Strickland, the worst AD in America, and I can say that confidently because his resume includes the worst hire in SEC basketball history. That would be Rick Ray at Mississippi State, and the worst hire in SEC football history in Billy Bob Napier. And somehow he is, despite making 2 coaching hires at Florida and firing both of those coaches in year 4, he's handling this search somehow, inexplicably, incomprehensibly. But yeah, so I don't know. I wish we'd go after Lincoln Riley. Now, I'm not sure if there's a buyout there, or I'm sure USC. I think that's a marriage that is off the rails on both sides, in my opinion. But that's many states away having that opinion. I would like Lincoln Riley. I hate how he left Oklahoma, but I would like him. Just I loved him prior to the way he left Oklahoma. And then my wild card, I've been saying it, is Cliff Kingsbury. Did magic with Johnny Football, did magic with Mahomes, just didn't have a defense at Texas Tech, didn't have the NIL support they have now. And then he did magic with Jaden Daniels last year. But he might just be an NFL guy, might not be interested, no clue.
Well, one coach that was rumored to Florida that doesn't seem to be going there now is Eli Drinkwitz getting his contract extension yesterday. They got their rivalry game with Arkansas this weekend, and you like the Tigers in this one.
I do. Can't believe the number's so small. They outplayed Oklahoma last week. They had 5 more first downs. I think they had 26 more total yards. They had more time of possession, but Kevin Coleman dropped a touchdown pass on 4th down, and Oklahoma, got the job done. But this is still a very good Mizzou team. Arkansas's got a good offense. They have a horrific defense. Missouri should be able to run the ball for 400 yards if they feel like it. Love Mizzou, and also give me their team total over 30.5. Arkansas has given up 32 or more in 9 straight games.
Well, let's go. I don't have your picks right in front of me. You told Dave, and Dave told him, and but let's go to what I think may be the game of the day tomorrow. I'm really hoping South Carolina wins so that I will have energy and excitement to watch this. Vanderbilt and Tennessee. I feel like this is going to be a really fun game between these two with a lot on the line. Maybe even a playoff discussion there for Vanderbilt. Your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I don't see Diego Pavia letting his team lose. I worry about the matchup of Vandy's defense on Tennessee's offense. I think it's going to be high scoring. I know the total's super high, is why I haven't played the over.
65 and a half. 65 and a half.
Yeah, because I was about to say, I was going to give you an exact final. I was going to say Pavia with a late touchdown pass. Vandy wins 38-34. That would get us over 65, so I'm okay with that play. I just don't think Pavia is going to lose this game. This guy has played out of his mind the last 3 games. I think he's the best player in the country. I think he deserves a Heisman Trophy, and I think he wills his team to victory tomorrow. I like Vandy outright, but take the 3.
So a game with playoff implications on both sides still. Obviously, Miami needs to improve on the resume a little bit, so style points matter tomorrow. Pitt still has a chance to make it to the ACC title game. You're like in Pitt in this matchup.
I do. As a road favorite in November since getting to Miami, Mario Cristobal, 2-4 straight up, 1-5 against the spread, and they're in a back-to-back road spot. Had to go to Vatech last week. The temperatures are going to be in the low 30s. There's a chance of snow. I thought Miami was catching a break with a noon Eastern kick, but it's still going to be cold and might snow anyway. That's bad news for the Canes. Pitt 10-6 ATS. Their last 16 as a home dog, but more importantly, since Mason Heinz, oh gosh, I'm not looking at my note. Heinzschul, anyway, however it's pronounced. He's 6-1 as a starter, but straight up and ATS. Played terrific last week. And the true freshman running back Turner, who has played fantastic with Desmond Reed, bothered by injuries. But Reed might be back tomorrow. But Turner had 201 rushing yards at Georgia Tech last week. I like Pitt to win outright, but obviously for betting purposes, let's take the 7. Just get a little baby taste of the money line.
803-404-6100 if you want to text in with a question. Let's get to another one you had here in particular. Now, you mentioned real quick, Vanderbilt, you like them to win. Missouri, you like them. I say not just win, but cover as well. And then that one was Pittsburgh over Miami. And the other one, Georgia Tech tomorrow, taking on, excuse me, that's tonight. That's this afternoon. That's the 3:30 game. 3:30. My days are all messed up. By the way, if I spend most of the day calling it Saturday, I apologize. It's not Saturday today. It's still Friday.
Feels like it, though, Gunner. You're all right.
It does, yeah. But Georgia Tech and Georgia later this afternoon. By the way, I hate that. I just think it's the dumbest thing ever. I know Georgia Tech got $10 million, but to move it to the Mercedes-Benz Stadium, I think is dumb. It's going to be a pro-dog crowd. I have Georgia pulling away in this, but I think it's 14.5. Is that that's what I saw last night?
14 or 14.5. I've seen it either. But okay. I do like Georgia Tech, but it's a smaller play because I see what you're seeing, Gunner. Georgia's peaking at the right time. They're playing great ball the last, or since the Mississippi State game. They've been fantastic. And but it's just an automatic play for me. Brent Key is an underdog, just automatic. I just play him as an underdog every time. 17-6 against the spread with 13 outright wins. They should have won in Athens last year. The last 2 head-to-head meetings have been one-possession games, and Key has covered all 3 times against Kirby, yet to get that outright win. But look, Georgia Tech played awful last week. That's why we're getting another point or 2 toward the line. That helps. So as long as you're getting 14, I like Georgia Tech, but I respect the way Georgia's playing. It's not a huge play for me.
I just wonder, did Georgia Tech really officially catch the attention of Georgia last year? I mean, we talk about South.
Yeah, they probably did. Yeah, I mean, going ahead 17-0 at halftime in Athens will do that.
Yeah, I just look. We know what the South Carolina Clemson rivalry is. Georgia Tech's about as lopsided. And
in recent years.
Yeah, and did Georgia Tech last year forcing, what was that? How many overtimes was that last year?
8.
Yeah.
Call it clean old-fashioned 8.
Yeah, well, okay. Did they catch them? Before we let you out, I know it's not on your card for tomorrow, but South Carolina Clemson, I know you at least took a look at it. It's not a game that you're going to play. Looks like the Gamecocks, at least the last I saw this morning, is the Gamecocks have moved to -3.5. This is the last I've seen. Yeah, I said that was almost exactly how I did that too. By the way, your breakdown on this game at noon tomorrow.
I like South Carolina, but I like them a lot less.
ESPN Bet, by the way, is what has them at 3.5.
Okay, if you can get 3, I like South Carolina. And I may play it. I hadn't played it yet, but I lean South Carolina there. Although they hadn't beaten Clemson at home since the Spurrier era, but although they do have 2 wins fairly recently at Clemson, one of them being last year. Obviously, they had a hard time maintaining Sellers. I also like the Nick Harbor touchdown prop that I saw a really good price at that I'm blanking on right now. I think it was plus 220 maybe, but he scored a touchdown, I believe 3 of the last 4, if I'm not mistaken. I don't mind his receiving yards over 49.5 either. And then how much time we got? I can just reel off a couple picks without analysis.
You got about 40 seconds to go. Go.
Okay, let's go Bears plus 7 today against the Eagles. Eagles are all beat up, and the Bears are on fire. I like them plus 7. They're 4-1 most straight up in ATS. Their last 5 as underdogs. I like Vandy and hoops today if it hasn't started yet. -3 or 3.5. I like FSU -1 or 1.5 in hoops today down in Tampa against Texas A&M. And I think that just about covers it.
Man, we always appreciate it. Get that Twitter back up and running.
I hope so. I hope so, guys.
We don't need some crypto discussion. We need some good games to pick, buddy.
That's right, fellas. I hope y'all had a great Thanksgiving. Enjoy the weekend. Thanks for having me, guys.
You too.
Thanks,
Take care. Brian Edwards, VegasInsider.com, MajorWager.com. We'll come back and wrap up the hour. I got a stat for you.
Okay.
He kind of mentioned it. I got a stat for you. I don't know if it's good or bad. You're listening to the Halftime Show. Bill Gunner for Mid-State Roofing, where for nearly 30 years, Mid-State Roofing, they've been the leader in the roofing and waterproofing industry. The reason being, customer service. Look, they do a lot of things great. Obviously, they install bonded and protective systems that keep your operation dry and running long into the future, and that's vital, whether it's your home or your business. Obviously, they are there for you. Doesn't matter where you're at in this great state, whether it's Columbia or Charleston, Greenville or Spartanburg, Aiken or Augusta. Mid-State Roofing is there for you, but it's the customer service, the way they treat you, the way they take care of you that stands out the most. They're there for you 24 hours a day, 7 days a week to make sure that your home stays dry and running, or your business dry and running long into the future. Give them a phone call, 803-356-1919, and tell them Bill Gunner sent you.
That was the call. 1987, Brad Edwards. That's honestly, Tyler, my first South Carolina Clemson memory.
Okay, you would have been how old in 87?
5.
5, okay.
That's kind of the first.
Yeah,
it was
about right.
celebrated. It was, at that moment, it was one of those. Since then, there's been other defensive moments, offensive moments. Dylan, we got a bunch of them we're going to play throughout the afternoon. I posted on Twitter yesterday, 803-404-6100. Defensively, let's not go offensively for a second. Defensively, most memorable defensive play. Now, I think because of our age audience, I think because of shock value, DJ Swearinger, the forearm shivered Andre Ellington is going to win.
That's what I was going to say.
The Brad Edwards play was bigger. It sealed the game.
Okay.
Like, it literally DJ Swearinger knocked Andre Ellington onto another planet and stood over him and flexed. And I don't know if he doesn't flex and draw the flag, if that play, that play has meaning because of the hit.
Sure.
But it was kind of everything in that moment that encompassed the South Carolina-Clemson rivalry that the Gamecocks had been able to flip on Clemson. But that Brad Edwards play sealed the game in 87, and it was a night game, and the Gamecocks were, at that point, under Joe Morrison, for those of you that really know and understand and remember the rivalry, the Gamecocks were really trying to turn the program around. It looked like Morrison was kind of starting to do that. South Carolina in 87, they were coming off of a tie in 86, 21-21. We all had to kiss the sister, or however you define it. The Clemson had also won in 85, and the Gamecocks had won in 84. So the series, and by the way, those games, those string of games going back to 84, South Carolina wins 22-21. Clemson wins 24-17. The tie in 21, and then the Gamecocks score on that late one to make it 2017. That was a 4 consecutive year run of very competitive, very intense football games between the programs.
Sure.
I will contend that the Brad Edwards play is the bigger play of the two in the South Carolina Clemson, on the South Carolina side of things, rivalry defensively.
Yeah, no, that makes a lot of sense, especially for one that seals the game like that. And you're right, the Swearinger thing from the shock value of it, because again, we all love when somebody just lays the wood. And
the game had gone not dull, but it was kind of in that moment where things were quiet.
Moment. Yes, it was a wow moment. You could hear it, right? And then just DJ Swearinger being DJ Swearinger, throws a little flex and flag comes out. But I think everybody would have gladly taken that, knowing the context of what was going to come later. But yeah, a touchdown sealing pick six, or a game sealing pick six. That's gotta take the cake.
Yeah, that was that. If you want to weigh in on that, 803-404-6100. I got stats.
Okay.
I'm tweaking them to fit me.
All right.
To fit my argument.
Okay, sure, you can do that.
Right?
Yeah.
Like, these stats, if you want the honest assessment very quickly, are kind of irrelevant.
Okay.
But if you're a Gamecock fan, you're like, I need to feel kind of good.
Sure.
I got stats.
You give me whatever you got.
This century, South Carolina, this is not a good stat. This century, South Carolina has won 4 times at home this century. Now, are you like the majority of us, and you almost look at that Steve Spurrier era against Clemson and throw that out? That's an anomaly.
Why would you throw that out? You
just throw it out because it's an anomaly. It doesn't fit.
Oh, you're like saying it's not indicative of what everything
typically happens.
Okay, it still happened. I get what you're saying.
Here's where I'm going with this. Here's where I'm going with this. Those are the only 2 years South Carolina won a night game at Williams-Brice Stadium.
Okay.
Now, the fact that's 4, it's 2-2. So a stat doesn't when you're 2-2. The other time South Carolina's won have been day games.
Yes.
And one in 2001 was a noon game, 20-15. The other one was a Spurrier year in 2009, 34-17, and that was the 2001 game was a 1:00 kick. The 2009 game was a noon kick.
Okay.
Noon kick tomorrow.
Right.
And I also rule out, because these are stats, anything from 2015 to 2020, because those complete.
All right. Okay, sure.
Also, this decade, There's been 4 games played, right?
Yeah.
How many have been played at noon?
1, 2, just 2, right?
Who's won both of those?
Okay. All right. Yeah.
What time is tomorrow's?
Tomorrow's game's at noon. I see where you're going.
You see where I'm
with this.
going?
I do.
We got more great stats. Hour 2.
it's certainly one of those things that we talked about it today. Yeah, it's an emotional game, but you can't make it so emotional where you get out there and lose your minds. And there's a difference between emotion and being too emotional, and I believe that. And being emotional because how much you want to win this game, or how much you may, dislike who you're playing, or whatever it might be, isn't going to help you play your best. And what you need to focus on, and what we spent a lot of time talking about, is, don't treat it differently. Prepare like you always have, and that the team that plays good, smart, winning football is probably going to win the game. And it's not going to be perfect, but if you go out there like we did in 2023 and we turned the ball over the first 2 plays of the game, it's probably not a recipe for success. If you go out there and execute and operate efficiently and have tunnel vision on doing your job, that gives you the best chance to be successful. So, yeah, it's one of those things, too. I think you can, and myself included, I love being a part of this rivalry. Yeah, there were a couple times in the team meeting this morning where they laughed at me because I had to kind of take a deep breath and remind them that we're not playing today, because we're all excited about this game. There's no question about it. But you can't, you don't need to be ready to beat Clemson on Tuesday morning at 8 a.m. in the team meeting. It's a slow build-up, and just each day get a little better and closer to kickoff.
The words of Shane Beamer discussing the attitude and emotion of what will be on Saturday afternoon. It'll be interesting because it's going to be cold. I know that's affecting the fans, not so much the players, but it'll be early.
It has an effect on players, too.
I would assume they get over it, don't you?
I don't know, man. When you played sports in the cold as a kid, it was different.
It's a big game. I assume it's a big game. For a lot of, there's going to be an energy level in the stadium. There's something I will admit about seeing the majority of garnet. I always feel like there's more garnet than black. The majority of garnet spread in the stadium and the corner of orange, and the colors just coming together. It's part of the pageantry that I love about college football and all that it is. But, you're going to feel the energy. You're going to hear the Clemson band strike up. We're going to hear the Clemson fans try to spell out their name. They usually struggle a little bit. It's okay.
It's a lot of letters.
It's a lot of letters. They're not all the same. People like our buddy.
There's that silent P sound in the middle.
You got like our buddy Ian on the live stream and doesn't even use his real name. Probably went with an easier name that he could spell. Clemson fan. So, Tyler, it is what it is. They'll be outside. The stadium.
Orange is bright. It's easy to see, so they don't get lost. Fall color.
Halloween.
It's very it's cautionary, right? We wear orange safety vests and stuff like that, so it's easy to see.
It is. I'll tell y'all, and we'll play more clips. And I speak for me personally. Just growing up going to this game, Tyler, do you have memories of Georgia Tech, that you just things that stood out, not necessarily from the game or the plays or anything like that, but they just stood out?
Totally. So I've never been to a Georgia Tech game myself, but obviously it's a game that I've watched my entire life. But I could sit here all day and talk about the memories of games. We were talking earlier about we played the clip of Pharaoh Cooper throwing the touchdown to Brandon Wilds in the 2013 game, and Wes asked me, he's like, "Did you watch that game?" I know I did, because earlier that day, Georgia and Georgia Tech played an overtime game. Georgia had to come back. Gurley had this crazy diving in a touchdown. You had the kick 6 in the Iron Bowl, and then Carolina and Clemson played that night in a top 10 matchup. So I do remember that day very vividly from start to finish, and part of that included watching the Palmetto Bowl.
Yeah, it's again just for me, having grown up going to this game, and I think I've been to the vast majority since 1992. And some of them there and some of them here. I've seen the good, the limited good, the majority bad.
Yeah.
But there is something special about getting those two colors in particular together, getting the white jerseys of, and I say this from a Williams-Brice standpoint, getting the white jerseys of Clemson in and the orange helmets and what is typically the garnet. Again, typically the garnet. I don't know what South Carolina will wear tomorrow. We got a preference on that?
And I'm a uniform stickler here.
You get a preference?
It's a noon kick, so I feel like the black at noon,
No?
I don't hate big game garnet.
I don't either.
I personally don't. I thought that was a good
I think
look.
that's been held out all year.
Yeah. And again, it's You did it against Coastal.
No.
Why not?
You didn't. I made that mistake on Twitter.
Okay.
Somebody called me out on it. They were 100% correct. Big Game Garnet is a white helmet. Fire Ant defense from 84 is all garnet.
Okay, so that was the Fire Ant defense.
Throwback, if you will.
All right. Well, I'm not. So I think
I made that mistake. I should be better. I should have punished myself.
I'm never mad about white pants with a home uniform. So if
Okay.
you go white lid, garnet, white pants,
Can't go wrong.
good, clean look for me. I'm good with that.
If you really want to go with a throwback, I feel you go garnet helmets, black jerseys. It's going to be cold. The black's not going to.
Yeah, it's true.
And the white pants.
Yeah, I can dig that.
If that's now, I'll be honest, that's me. That's also growing up watching Carolina football. That's my favorite uniform combination. I can see players in 2025 being like, Coach, let's go black on black with the garnet, which I don't think South Carolina's done in a long time. So one of you co-pilot, if you're out there, some of you uniform true nerds, have we gone black jerseys, black pants, garnet helmets in a long, long time?
I don't recall it from my time here.
There is. That's some 80s stuff.
Honestly, because they haven't done the Rodgers throwbacks this year at
No.
all. I don't know if they still have those or not.
I thought they were supposed to be.
I wouldn't be opposed to that.
But so we'll get all that. But it'll be fun. It'll be fun tomorrow. And again, you're gonna have to get out there early. I was talking to somebody about this a little while ago. Tyler, you guys will be doing the pregame.
Yes.
We'll have the pregame for you bright and early. And if you want to go and see, because again, traffic, we all know this. Game's at noon. I'm not telling you something you don't know. We're all arriving at the same time. It's not a 7 o'clock game where it's spread out through the day.
Right.
I want y'all to think about this. You're like, oh, making plans today. We're going to do some tailgating. Want to do this. Want to do that. Everybody's going to be arriving at about the same time between about 8 and about 9:30. Think about that.
Yes.
But Tyler, if you want to get out there early, Jay's Corner.
Yes.
I don't know how people feel necessarily. I don't know how people necessarily feel about wings at 7 a.m. But
Something warm.
yeah,
It's gonna be cold.
yeah.
Yeah.
So, but come by and see you.
Come by and see us. We'll be out
And who
there.
you have tomorrow?
It'll be me and Terry.
You and Terry.
So, yeah, come by and see us. We'll be out there getting you ready and trying to stay as warm as possible.
Come by and hang out with them. Get your vibe going. Give them a score prediction.
And I will say this, for as rough as this season's been, the crowd out there is always phenomenal. We always get a ton of people out there. We interact with people of the other fan base, and it's always a good time. So yeah, be out there bright and early tomorrow, getting you set for last game of the season.
Yeah. Well, so 803-404-6100 if you want to weigh in this afternoon. Again, tomorrow morning, bright and early, 7 o'clock, we'll have Gamecocks game day. That'll begin from Jay's Corner, 1015 Rosewood Drive. So as you're heading to the stadium, if you park and you want to walk over and check out Tyler and Terry and be a part of the group, say hello, get a little football talking in, and head back to your tailgate, please come on by. What is it? Y'all go to about 8:45, correct?
Roughly, yeah.
I remember those days. I did the pregame show there with Heath for about 5 or 6 years. Thank you for stepping in on that.
No problem.
Stepping
no problem.
in.
I enjoy it.
It is. It's a fun little time. And tomorrow will be a lot of fun. And again, I encourage you to go by Jay's Corner. 803-404-6100. We'll come back. It is championship weekend.
Yes, it is.
Not just at Williams-Brice Stadium for the Palmetto Bowl, but across the state for state championships.
Or semifinals.
Semifinal. I'm sorry.
Next
Yeah, we
weekend
got a
state
couple. I think some of the Skeeza ones is what I've got written down. Am I wrong on that? Check that.
Maybe.
We'll get it. 803-404-6100. You're listening to the halftime show. Chris Deering is up next. Mr. Chris Deering joining us as he does each and every Friday. And Chris, I saw several others tweet out something that you've been at the forefront of saying yesterday, that waking up on Thanksgiving morning while waking up to delicious smells and parades and the potential of football, NFL later in the day is great. Waking up to practice high school football is one of the best feelings ever.
It absolutely is, Bill. Those kids got to practice on Thanksgiving morning. I think all the teams still remaining, I think they all practiced in the morning time. Most of them probably fed the kids a big hearty breakfast and then sent them on their way to go home to spend time with family and friends the rest of the day. And, you got a bunch of people back in town, alumni around, playing a football game tonight. With a chance to go play for a state championship. To me, that's what high school football is all about. And there's 24 teams left playing, and they get a chance to do something special tonight and get into a state championship, which is obviously everyone's goal.
Let me ask real quick, because I know I've had this conversation, but it slips my mind on where we stood. I know it's not this year. Or is there any talks in getting this back to Williams-Brice Stadium for state champ? Not obviously this weekend and so forth and so on. But do you know of anything that this gets moved back? I feel like we might have been very close. Do you know anything about that?
Well, it's on a year-to-year basis, and nothing's been decided for 2026 yet. We do have the basketball championships coming back to the Colonial Life Arena in Columbia, and that's a step in the right direction. I've said it many times before. You need to put the high school league and South Carolina in a room and let them figure it out. South Carolina's in the SEC. I don't think they need the money to charge all these high fees to the high school league to use their facility. That's just my personal opinion. And again, playing at South Carolina State, there's nothing wrong with that by any stretch of the imagination. But if you can put these kids, there's going to be a lot of kids next weekend that they will put the pads on for the last time. Football is not something you can play as you get into adulthood. It's not tennis, it's not golf, it's not something like that. A lot of kids will put the pads on for the last time next weekend. And if you can give them an opportunity to play in a big stadium, in an SEC stadium, I think you should do it at all costs.
Let's dive into some of these games now. Kind of hop around a little bit because there's a lot of big games to get to. I want to start off with one just on name value alone is obviously huge. Got Gray Collegiate taking on South Florence. South Florence has played a tight game in basically 2 months since that loss to Northwestern. Gray Collegiate scored 28 early against Hilton Head last week and held on for the 3-point win. What do you see for this matchup?
Well, like you just mentioned, South Florence has not been challenged since they got beat by Northwestern early in the season. Gray's got to get on the bus and travel down I-20 and play this game tonight. Both teams have been playing very well. I was looking at the matchups this week and what we previewed on Prep Red Zone, and really and truly, I feel like almost every single matchup is you're going to see an opponent that's probably one of the best you've seen all season, regardless of classification or whatever. And, I think you look at the South Florence team, they're making their fourth straight semifinal appearance. They won it all last year. They got a quarterback in Messiah Jackson who I think is really maybe a little bit underrated. They had a defensive back last week. Amari Reeves had 2 pick-sixes in the game, had 3 interceptions overall, I believe, and picked up a fumble. So great game by him. You look at this Gray team, they got Michael Boulware, who's close to 200 tackles on the season at linebacker. J.P. Sweat is really good. And, I think Gray Collegiate maybe changed things when they went with they had an injury at quarterback. They put a freshman in, Xavier Wright, and he's really taken the reins of this team and made it his own as a freshman. I mean, he's 14 or 15 years old, and he's in a high pressure situation, but he's got some weapons around him, and Trayvon Williamson, Corey Gleaton, Royce Williamson. He has a chance to do something special tonight and get this great team into another state championship. They missed the playoffs last year for some off the field stuff, and this is they're back again and playing for a chance to go to a state championship. But very tough road going to South Florence. Drew Marlowe's done a fantastic job with that program, and they're looking to make their 4th straight state championship game.
We need a name for this particular playoff game. I'm not sure what to call it. I'll let you two decide. The Fighting Langston Moores of James Island.
the Fighting Preston Thorns of Summerville. This is a Charleston classic. James Island 12-1, Summerville 11-2 tonight.
Yeah, this is going to be a great game. You know, the last time these two teams played, and I actually wrote the preview for it this week, and I had forgotten about this. It was in a driving rainstorm in Charleston. It was really bad weather. The final of that game was 14-9, and I think you'll see a little more points tonight. I think the specialists on both sides are a little bit better than what they showed that night in the rain. But, I don't know what to call this one. Preston and oh my gosh, you just said his name.
Langston.
I can't even remember. Langston. Know both of those guys really well. Like both of them a whole lot. Don't know which one to pull for tonight in that game. But one of them's going to be really happy. One of them's not going to be so happy at the end of the night. But I think that one's going to be, a fantastic game with a lot of playmakers on both sides of the ball. Maybe we call it just a chicken game. I don't know. I don't know what else you call it.
Again, talking high school football here with Chris Deering. Let's stay in 5A Division I, another big matchup here. Dorman going on the road, take on a Dutch Fork team that's cruised through its first couple games in the playoffs so far.
Yeah, you look at Dutch Fork and what Tom Knotts has done at that school is absolutely incredible. They're in their 10th straight semifinal game tonight. He's been at the 12 out of the last 13. They've been in the state semifinals 13 years. He's never lost a semifinal game in South Carolina. He's 12-0 in those situations. And if they win tonight, they look to go for a four-peat. They had a four-peat. They let Gaffney interrupt the run, and then they've got 3 in a row right now. So they won 7 of the last 8 state championships. And it's just November is Tom Knott's time. And I mean, I know a couple of years ago when they limped into the playoffs a little bit, people thought they could get them, and they won it with not so great overall record. But I'm not ever going to bet against Tom Knotts in the playoffs. But they got a Dorman team that's coming down. They're really good in the run game. One thing that might be a problem tonight, that Dorman's not very big on the offensive line, but they do play well. They use leverage well. They run the football, but they're going to have their hands full with that defensive front of Dutch Fork with Julian Walker and Jaden Worth and Luciano. What's his name? Luciano Cesaro, and so that's going to be a really good game, I think. But if those defensive front for Dutch Fork gets free, it might be a long night for Dorman in that situation. They haven't lost a home playoff game. Dutch Fork hasn't since 2015, and the last team to beat them there was Dorman. So you got a little bit of history on their side right there.
Not too far from Dutch Fork tonight, another great one, and it is the Fighting Chris Deerings. The Berkeley Stags will make their way up to take on Irmo. 10-2 Berkeley, 11-1 Irmo.
Yeah, I think this game is – I think you got two teams that's very similar actually in this game. Both teams are really good in the trenches. I think they both are good on the offensive line. I think they're both good on the defensive line. So that's going to be a really fun battle to watch. I might give Irmo a little bit of advantage with the skill positions with Drayvon Dobson, Amari White, Malik Miller, Corey Miller, a freshman. But I think the X factor in this game tonight might be Berkeley quarterback Henry Rivers. He's ran the ball well this year. He's not thrown it quite as well as he has in the previous 2 years when he was a starter. But if he can throw the ball and open up that running game, and, Berkeley's got to get behind that big offensive line and move the chains if they're going to hope to win this game. But went down to the Low Country for Thanksgiving. I know the Berkeley people are excited. A lot of them are coming up I-26 as we speak, probably listening to this show right now. So it's going to be a good game, good atmosphere, and that's where I'm going to be tonight, covering the game for Prep Red Zone and the state newspaper.
Let's go down to 2A, Fairfield Central coming in off a dominant win against Clinton. Strom Thurmond coming in off of handling Chester last time out.
Fairfield Central is a team. If you told me to sit down and pick out maybe the biggest surprise of the people still playing, it might be Fairfield Central. They lost a couple of games early. They lost to Ridgeview early by a wide margin, and I thought maybe they didn't have the team that they've had in the past. But got to give credit to the Caden Diggs and Kalen Cup and those guys at Fairfield Central. They beat the defending state champion last week, Clinton, and they just shouldn't beat them. I mean, they beat them bad. I think it was 5 or 6 touchdowns was the final margin. So they're playing really well coming into this semifinal game against Strong Thurman. Strong Thurman's a team I thought could get this far all season long. That they're really good at skill positions. They got a couple of backs, and Deontay Phillips and Caden Wigfall. They're about 1,500 yards between them. So this could be a good atmosphere over at Strong Thurman. And, you know, I always say at this time of year, somebody's got to get on a bus and drive a long way. And you don't think that's a factor, but I promise you, these kids are antsy. They're ready to play. And, you know, you got to get on that bus and travel maybe hour and a half, 2 hours. And that takes a little bit out of you.
Again, he is Chris Deering. Following him, C. Deering 82 is the way to do that. You might have said this, and I apologize for just not catching it. Where are you at tonight?
I'm going to Berkeley at Irma.
Yeah, going to support your team, huh?
I'm going to be an impartial reporter.
Mm-hmm.
I will tell you, I've caught a little bit of flack this week from some people in this area, in Columbia. I promise you'll get a very impartial report. You'll get impartial tweets. I'm there to do a job. I'm not there to pull for anybody. I just hope we have a really good game, and it goes into the fourth quarter. And when they're closed, it makes it a lot easier to write about than when they're blowouts.
That is a very legitimate true. I know you will be professional. Let's go. I don't think we've mentioned this one. Upstate tonight, Indian Land and Northwestern.
You know, I was following on the radio. My game ended pretty quick last week, the one I covered, and I was following that Indian Land game against T.L. Hanna on the radio. And, you know, they had a 90-yard touchdown pass with a little less than 2 minutes to go to come back and beat T.L. Hanna. And the only game they've lost this year is to Northwestern. They're really good. Do they have the firepower to keep up with Northwestern? I think that's the question. Sequel Patterson, the South Carolina commit, he was really good last week, over 100 yards receiving. Their quarterback did get hurt late. He was not the one that threw the touchdown pass for them to come back and beat T.L. Hanna. So this could be something to watch to see if their starting quarterback is in the game. But you look at what Northwestern's done the last few years as well. They got a great defense with Cameron Watkins, Dash Holly, and then they got maybe one of the best wide receivers in the state in Cam Vance, and they got a quarterback, Xavier Means, that's really, you know, he's a first-year starter, but he stepped in and done a really good job in that air raid attack that Coach Walford loves to run up there. And, you know, they're defending state champ. They beat Irma last year in the championship. So tough road for Indian Land, but, you know, it's a great season by those guys because I don't think a lot of people penciled them in to still be playing in those Friday after Thanksgiving.
Chris, we always appreciate it. Obviously, next week will be a lot of fun as well. It's going to be it's going to be a cold one. Bundle up, buddy. Bundle up. But it's going to be. Go ahead.
I'm trying to figure out what I'm going to wear right now because it will be cold. I think at kickoff tonight it's going to be about 38 degrees.
1 minute left with you. You got 1 minute. Tomorrow, Carolina Clemson. Your thoughts?
I think in that one tomorrow, I've told people all week, I think if you reverse these two teams' schedule and let South Carolina play Clemson's schedule and Clemson play South Carolina's schedule, the records, you know, I think Clemson has about the record South Carolina does. I think South Carolina might have a little bit better record than what Clemson does. The key to that game, in my opinion, I feel like it's probably going to be close for a half into the third quarter, and can South Carolina finish? That's been their problem all year. If they find a way to play well in the fourth quarter, I think they actually win this game. You know, it's been since everybody's talked about it. It's been since 2013 since they won in Williams-Brice, and at some point you figure that streak's got to stop. It's got to end, and I think they have a chance to do that tomorrow. They seem to play well in these 12 o'clock games against the Tigers. I know the last two times they won been in Death Valley, but maybe that's what they need to get over the hump here in Columbia and finally get that monkey off their back. But it should be a good one. Clemson, you know, trying to play. They go into a bowl game. South Carolina's not. And maybe if this is South Carolina's bowl game and they can, you know, maybe knock the Tigers down a bit and put them in the Pinstripe Bowl or the Fenway Bowl or whatever it is.
Chris, we appreciate it. Catch up with you next week, man. Have a great weekend. You're listening to the Halftime Show. Good luck tonight, all the parents, cheerleaders, administrators, players, mascots. Yeah, you name it.
Concession stand workers, because I guarantee you, you're going to be selling a lot of hot chocolate and coffee tonight.
Bundle up. Bundle up. But good luck and congratulations to everybody out there that is being a part of tonight festivities there across the state for high school football playoff weekend. It's obviously a great time to be playing. 803-404-6100. We'll go through the games today here in just a second. But let's give us an update. A, there's a video now. B, we had a brouhaha. C, we actually have an actual football game going on. And just a quick update, Lane Kiffin has not done anything crazy just yet.
The Egg Bowl is Egg Bowling. I tell you what, yes, there's now video of said perpetrator going into the locker room to take Trinidad Chambliss' jersey.
Okay.
You can find it on Twitter. He does some not safe for work things in there, so be careful who you're watching that around. Apparently there's a Snapchat of him using it as a shower mat or something like that, standing on it. So there's a lot of things happening. And then we were talking to Chris a few minutes ago. It was a situation where Trinidad Chambliss had gotten hit, and they rolled it a fumble. They were reviewing it, but there was like a brawl, a break apart thing. A bunch of players got to scuffling, and again, we're watching it without the sound, so I don't know how many players got dinged with personal fouls, but there's a lot of guys. If they have another personal foul, will be ejected from this game. So Egg Bowl is Egg Bowling. Ole Miss leads 14-10 right before halftime.
Yeah, right. Right before halftime, and so but it looks like Mississippi has the ball and is driving potentially. Is that kind of?
They're still on their own side of the field.
Okay. Yeah.
I kept thinking Ole Miss was about to pull away. I think they missed a field goal earlier too, and give Mississippi State credit. They're hanging in there.
Well, I figured that with Jeff Levy. Look, give Jeff Levy credit. And we're going to talk all South Carolina Clemson in the next hour. Captain Dave has got a rant that matches all rants of all time lined up for the next segment. You're not going to want to miss that. We're just going to turn Captain Dave loose for a solid 5 or 6 minutes on Clemson, and he has his free time to do whatever he wants to do and express his opinions. It's completely separate of anybody here at 107.5 The Game. He is on his own. But looking at the rest of the games today, Tyler, obviously, this one is really interesting. We mentioned it. Utah and Kansas is on our other TV at the current moment. Iowa, Nebraska also taking place right now. And I called that one. I put in a prediction for that one. I said it was going to be odd. Nebraska's without their coach. There's some rumors out there that Matt Rule may still be in play for Penn State. Mm-hmm. By the way, there was other contract extensions we might want to try and address. Iowa plays weird games. I think I had Iowa 22-16 in this game.
Yeah, it sounds about right. Again, two teams that pride themselves on defense. I don't know what the weather is, but I imagine it's not great. Kind of a low-score, grinded-out type of game. That, to me, and I love the fact that ESPN now has the SEC contract, and we get a full Black Friday of games like the Egg Bowl and Georgia Tech, Texas, and Texas A&M. But, to me, Black Friday was always like watching Iowa, Nebraska play a weird, low-scoring fist fight of a game, and then watching Missouri and Arkansas play a weird game between two teams that were kind of in the SEC.
By the way, I called Iowa 22-16 as the final. They're heading to halftime. They're about to kick the field goal. They're about to kick the extra point. It is 23-16.
Man, the rare the rare Iowa over. Don't see that a lot.
Iowa has exploded on Nebraska. That was taking place. Utah is up 10-7 on Kansas. That game going to half. There is a big one in the MAC. Okay, it's only kind of big to us. The Fighting Pete Limbos.
Yeah, they're having some trouble right now.
They've got to get bowl eligible. They're 5-6. They're playing Ohio. They're at home. They're down 21-7. They just gave up 14 second quarter points. Pete Limbo maybe not bowl eligible this year.
Yeah, they were at the Bahamas Bowl last year. Had a good season, but yeah, they need to have a second half comeback to go bowling this year. Yeah, I don't know. It's always watching where Pete Limbo goes. It's always like to have a nice second team, and the Buffaloes are that.
Later on today, 3:30, Georgia Tech. I kind of made my feelings known. I don't understand what Georgia Tech did. Can you explain? I get it. I do actually get it in terms of the standpoint that you made $10 million, but this has now become a de facto Georgia home game, in my opinion. So it is a Georgia Tech home game.
Yes, but
all the little sound and things they do will be Georgia Tech-ish.
Sure.
But come on, Georgia's going to overrun that stadium.
They are.
And why? Why would you do that, Tyler?
Hey, listen, you give me an opportunity to make fun of Georgia Tech.
Go right ahead.
I'll happily do that because, and Brent Keys said it, Jeff Collins said it, every coach at Georgia Tech always says, you know what, Bobby Dodd Stadium in the Flats is the best environment in college football. And I will say, it's right there in the middle of the city, especially at night. It's really cool. You're right there by the interstate and all the big buildings and stuff like that. And they've sold a home game a year to Mercedes-Benz Stadium. And, like, this is called the Invesco QQQ Gridiron Classic or something like that. It's not renaming of the rivalry. It's what the game itself is called when Georgia Tech has a game there. But yeah, and look, I've always been pro home environments. I think they're the best. College football has the best ones in all of sports, and I would never take a game intentionally out of a home environment, especially a rivalry game, to play it in a soulless NFL stadium that, let's be honest, isn't going to be all the way full.
Yeah, I understand selling a game. If South Carolina had a bigger venue locally, kind of like an NFL stadium, playing a Coastal Carolina or a different game in that stadium, you know, to kind of get that. Not your rivalry game at home.
Where you could give yourself more of an advantage by having more of your crowd there. Again, it's going to be, if not an overwhelming majority, at least split between Georgia and Georgia Tech fans, where at Bobby Dodd, especially in a year where Tech's actually playing well, you'll get a lot of your own fans there.
Yeah.
I don't get it. It's dumb.
I don't either. And again, it's not like next year they're back in the Georgia Dome and Georgia traded their game.
Georgia's like, no, you're coming to Sanford.
Yeah.
You'll play us in Sanford. That's it.
Yeah, I don't. That makes no sense. Again, later on today, North Texas will play Temples, San Diego State, New Mexico. Those are 3:30 games. 4 o'clock, Boise State and Utah. And then tonight, two games at 7:30, one game at 9 o'clock. Tonight, Tyler, Indiana, Purdue. Point spread still, according to Bet ESPN, 28.5. It's going to be cold. Over under 52.5.
Over. Yeah, okay. I think Indiana makes just for style points, because I think they beat them 66-0 last year.
That is, I guess, is there a bucket, title?
Oh, that's a good question. I think this is on my list.
Old Oaken bucket?
I don't think it's the Old Oaken bucket.
For what it's worth, Fernando Mendoza this year, 2,600 yards, 30 touchdowns, 5 interceptions. Is he your Heisman?
It is the Old Oaken bucket.
Yeah, it is, right, baby. Chalk one up for the Gunner.
By the way, number 13 on my list. And
good one.
As of right now, I think Mendoza is in the lead for the Heisman.
Okay, you going him?
I think Diego Pavia is in second.
Okay, yes. That's where I was going. Would you have Pavia ahead of Mendoza?
Not at the moment, because I think Mendoza's had more of a Heisman moment in a bigger game. But Diego Pavia should be in New York.
7:30 tonight, A&M in Texas. I've got A&M winning. I've got A&M winning this game. By the way, I got Georgia Tech winning. I got them covering too, 27-10. I think Tech got their attention. I've got A&M winning tonight in Texas. I say Arch Manning fails in the final 2 minutes. I think we get a great game. But let me give you some numbers here. Arch Manning, awful season, right?
It's like remember
he was awesome. Arch Manning, just shy of 2,800 yards, 23 touchdowns, 7 interceptions. In his first season starting.
He's figured it out. Now, is it what everybody hyped him up to be? No, but he's done fine. And if he does come back next year, I'll be interested to see how much better he gets. But
he's got to come back next year, right?
No, he's eligible.
No, I meant.
Well, I think he's going to. But
it's kind of like Lenoris. He's got to come back, right?
He's been fine. He's not been the superstar people thought he was going to be, but he's been fine. He's been good.
Yeah. Arch Manning tonight again, 23 touchdowns, 7 interceptions on the season, 2,763 yards, just shy of 28. And then at 9 o'clock tonight, top 20 showdown, by the way, Arizona and
Duel in the Desert.
Duel in the Desert at Mountain America Stadium in Tempe, Arizona, and Arizona State. Prepare yourself accordingly. Captain Dave Adair has built up thoughts. It's like one volcano that's been waiting to explode. It explodes in the next segment. You'll hear it live right here on the Halftime Show.
All right, welcome back in. Halftime show. Tyler Ed, Bill Gunner, Captain Dave. Football Friday, of course, getting set for South Carolina and Clemson coming up tomorrow. And if you've listened to this station long enough, you know there's nothing Dave despises more in his life than that school from the upstate. When we are doing Gamecocks game day, if there's a Clemson game going on, Dave is routinely giving us constant score updates of everything that goes wrong for Clemson. And we can hear him cackling every time they are set up to lose. Dave despises the team in orange. And I feel, and Dave, you're in charge of the dump button, so don't do anything that's going to get us in trouble.
Please.
We're going to let Dave loose here for a couple minutes to just vent his frustrations about that team.
Well, this is easy. I mean, you should hate Clemson. That's a given. If you're a South Carolina fan, you hate Clemson. Vice versa, if you're a Clemson fan, you should hate South Carolina. That's just the way it is. None of this, hey, it's best for the state. I always pull for the other guy, whoever they're playing, unless they're playing us. No. No, you hate Clemson. I hate Clemson. We should all hate Clemson. You know, within reason. You know, you won't egg their house or anything like that.
I don't know.
But there were so many things over the years that are just so horrible to deal with Clemson. We'll take the founding of Clemson. Pitchfork Ben Tillman founded Clemson. He said that the University of South Carolina was a school for lawyers' sons and the rich elite.
It's a good point.
So, well, it's not true. Even at the time, most of the students were actually poor. But he wanted an agricultural college. Now, in response to that, South Carolina said, why should we have a college where you go all year to learn how to pitch manure? I thought that was a great quote there.
It's very fair.
So, yeah, absolutely fair. So there's that. But then they put a statue of Ben Tillman 2 blocks from the University of South Carolina campus.
Oh, tear it down.
I mean, come on.
Did we tear it down yet?
That's an affront. That's an affront to the University of South Carolina.
Have we torn it down?
Can we tone it down?
Tear it down? Has it been torn down?
No, it's still there.
Sounds like something to do tomorrow after the victory.
Yeah, absolutely.
Everybody, I don't know where that statue is.
It's right there. It's across the street. You
From
can see it if you walk over there.
across the street from what?
From us, diagonally.
Oh,
It's right there.
no wonder. No wonder I don't see it. I don't go over there.
Yeah, they put it on our side, too. So
Is that what you walk by every day, Dave? You go on your walk?
I avoid it if I can. You know, I walk on the
Bad
other
juju.
side of the road.
Yeah, makes sense.
1965.
Go
we actually-
chronologically.
Well, we actually won the ACC championship. We had a 4-2 record. We shared it with Duke, but you know, hey. But then the ACC, not the NCAA, the ACC decided to strip all of our ACC victories from us. The reason being is because apparently 3 players for the University of South Carolina were given between $50 and $100 to pay for books, textbooks, and meals. That's what caused that. So the ACC championship was stripped from us, and guess who it was given to?
Clemson.
Not Duke.
Not Duke.
It was given to Clemson, along with NC State. But Clemson wins the ACC championship in 1965. Although I will say Frank Howard said, you know, we didn't win it on the field, so it's really, I don't think of it that way. So, Frank Howard, I'll tip my hat to you, Mr. Howard. Thank you. Appreciate it. But, hey, that's another ACC championship we could have had along with the 1969 one, but no. That's a ridiculous, don't you think that's a ridiculous reason to strip it?
Well, given what else was going on at the time.
Now we learned all that stuff was illegal from an NCAA perspective. So retroactively, they should have been rewarded the 1965 ACC championship.
Yeah, given that, yeah, I am with you. Put that up. Put it up in the stadium.
Hang the banner.
Put it up in the stadium.
Get the banner.
Now we'll get to 2014. I'm skipping over a bunch of stuff naturally, you know, the fight, the riot, the guns pulled and all that.
Oh, wow.
But 2014, we finished the season ranked 8th in the nation. Clemson was ranked 12th. We beat Clemson that year, and we had a 10-2 record But the BCS, it was the final year of the BCS, right? So they had this stupid rule that no two teams from the same conference can go to one of the big bowls that count for the big, national championships and everything. So instead of South Carolina going to the Orange Bowl, guess who get to go? Clemson. That's right, Clemson. And it was the beginning of Clemson's big run and the beginning of South Carolina's downfall. So another kick in the face from Clemson, by Clemson, don't like you one bit.
Okay.
There you have it.
Take that, Clemson. We're not done with that. We're not done with that. Dave's got more, and we got another hour. Bill Gunner for the mortgage guru, Jacob Crowder, and First Palmetto Bank. All right, we are now officially through Thanksgiving. You only got to worry about Christmas presents and Christmas trees and ornaments and mistletoe and all that. Once you get through that, you start worrying about your home, like simple things. Maybe you've seen something you want to remodel. Maybe you got your recent mortgage bill and you're thinking you want to refinance. Maybe you had everybody over yesterday and you're thinking we need a bigger house in 2026. And now you either want to buy or build a brand new home. Well, guess what? The mortgage guru, Jacob Crowder with First Palmetto Bank, can handle all of it, but you got to call him. That actually has to be your very first step. Whatever you thought yesterday, whatever you think tomorrow, whatever you're thinking about the future, the first thing you do is call Jacob Crowder, 803-719-1005. Again, that's 803-719-1005. He's the mortgage guru, Jacob Crowder with First Palmetto Bank.
Clemson Tigers, 14-7. Gamecocks out on top. This will be Bennett. Bennett, a yard deep in the end zone. Whoa, and he's going to throw it across the field. That was a lateral. This is Reggie Richardson. It fooled the Clemson defense. Richardson at the 20. Richardson down to the 6-yard line. Oh, my, Bill.
What a great play. That's one of the old plays out of my play.
1994. 1994, the throwback, Brandon Bennett to Reggie Richardson. I will deem that as my second memory of South Carolina football. 87, Brad Scott. 94, though, I was more of in a middle school type era. I had a bet with my buddy Benjamin Ryan. We were in some kind of weird, odd shop class together. They weren't good football teams.
Well, that's kind of you said the other day, that was kind of the aesthetic
the 90s,
of the 90s
mantra.
Two bad programs trying to just fight with each other for something.
Yeah, that was what it was. For those of you that remember, now Reggie Richardson's got a path to the touchdown and technically trips over his own player at about the 6. South Carolina would go on to win that game in blowout fashion, 34-7. But it does go down, I think, as one of the better memories for South Carolina in that rivalry up at Memorial Stadium that particular afternoon. Noon game.
Yeah, okay.
Early game. I'm just telling you there's a trend.
Trend with when you exclude, like, about a decade in the Spurrier years. And
the Muschamp years were bad.
Do you remember when there was that trend? It almost kind of became a meme of college football programs that would tweet out things about, like, hey, we've had a player featured in every Super Bowl ever, with the exception of like 12, and that being like really small print.
Yeah.
Kind of the same thing. It's like, hey, Carolina's won every noon game in this rivalry if you exclude like 2015 to
the Muschamp years.
20. Yeah, the Muschamp years. You take the Spurrier years out of there. Yeah. There you go.
Did we lose a nooner? Yeah, we did. Oh, the ugly one. There's the easy one. No wonder I block it out. Is the nooner that got Dabo his job up there. Cold, rainy day.
That 08?
08. Cold, rainy day up there. Ugly environment. 06 was a lot of fun. Beautiful nooner. 2006, by the way, up there. Noon game. Blake Mitchell kept throwing interceptions. I believe it was C.J. Spiller or Reggie Merriweather's running it down South Carolina's throat at the very end of the game, and it looks like they're just going to march on in for a touchdown. And all of a sudden, they pulled one of the two running backs. I can't remember who it was. They pulled at the very end of the game. Blake played better in the second half, by the way. Blake came back and played a lot better. But Clemson's running it down South Carolina's throat at the very end of the game. I can't remember if it was Merriweather or Spiller, and they pulled one of them, and South Carolina was able to get the stop and force Jad Dean to kick the field goal, and Dean missed. And that was a wild celebration. South Carolina fans met at the Paul. I'll never forget, and I had met him at a couple of away games, and you talk about a guy, I don't know if he's here. I don't know if he's still here in town. I don't know if he listens, but I had met a parent, Eckerson's father, Hutch Eckerson. I had met his father a couple times at different road games.
Okay.
Normally at establishments at night. He would be out. He was having a good time. Him and his family. They were good people. And all I can remember is Clemson misses the field goal, and I, after hugging my now ex-wife and high-fiving my buddy, looking down, and Hutch Eckerson's dad in a black jersey is leading the parade of Carolina people over the wall and onto the field to party. I was like, yeah, that seems about right. That's about the right way to be going about this. That's the guy that would do that.
Yeah.
And tomorrow there should not be a. By the way, let's get it clear, right? No field storming tomorrow. Students, if you're listening, or people that can get access to students, number one, do not storm the field tomorrow.
I don't care if it's a blowout. I don't care if it's a last-second field goal. I don't care if it's an overtime. This is not a game you storm the field against. Do not give them the ammo of, we were clearly their Super Bowl. That's what you're doing if you storm the field.
Go back to your parking lot spot, your tailgate spot.
You got the rest of the day to celebrate.
Tailgate. Yeah.
But not on the field.
Exactly.
Now, And Dabo already downplayed flag planting.
To which, do we both disagree with that?
Yeah, that's my thing. It's like, look, and I don't know why last year in particular it became such a hot topic in college football, but
because people get in fights.
Yeah, people get in fights, and it seemed more rampant than it had been because this has been around forever, right? Like
Pretty
this
much.
is not the first time flags have been planted at midfield of your rival's stadium, and I always go back to like beat them, right?
Right.
They're in your venue again. Home field advantage. You should have an advantage in those games. Beat them, and they don't do it, right? If Clemson doesn't want Carolina planting its flag on the paw, well, then beat Carolina, and vice versa. If you don't want Clemson to do it tomorrow,
Don't show the
beat
fight
'em.
after the game.
Yeah. You know,
Show
what
the
I mean?
fight during the game.
Sure, exactly, and that was what people are critical of Ohio State last year. Is Michigan comes into your house, takes your lunch money, and beats you, and they plant the flag in midfield. Oh, now Ohio State has some energy.
Right.
Now Ohio State has a little fight in them. Where was that for 4 quarters?
Yeah. Let's go through tomorrow's schedule real quick, and then we're going to get into breaking down the South Carolina Clemson game coming up over the next 45 minutes. You just mentioned that will be the early game. Game day is there. Big noon kickoff is there. The line is 9.5. I'm calling the upset. Tyler. I don't know where you're going with this. I've got Michigan winning this game. You realize this thing is honestly very lopsided. Michigan's got an 11-game lead in this series, but it is very lopsided, if not for Jim Tressel and Urban Meyer, essentially.
Yeah, no, some of the best coaches Ohio State ever had have done really well against Michigan, and it's funny that Ryan Day is a national championship coach now. He's the most recent one, but the thing we always talk about is, can he finally get over the Michigan? I get it, he beat him in 2019, but since Michigan turned into what they became against Harbaugh, and then last year, a year where they were down after losing Harbaugh, losing a lot of talent to the NFL, that game, they shouldn't have lost that game. And the belief was that Ryan Day tried to beat Michigan at their own game, being physical, running the ball down their throats, trying to win a fist fight type of game, and they lost. You have some, I don't know, there's some debate. I got to check the injury report on if Carnell Tate's going to play. So you may not have all your weapons, but you quite literally have the best wide receiver in college football. You have a quarterback that's really kind of flying under the radar because of how dominant they've been, but Julian Sayin is really good. Your defense is phenomenal. This game shouldn't be close.
But see, they haven't been tested. They haven't been tested like that, and that's going to be my point tomorrow. You can make the case this is the toughest game Ohio State's played. Now,
oh yeah, I think it definitely is, but that doesn't mean that they're going to lose.
It's in Ann Arbor. I think there's a mental block there. I mean, you're talking about, again, this is quick math, so apologize if I mess something up. Victories by 33, by 38, by 24, by 24, by 34, by 18, by 39. There's a close one. 18 points over Washington way back in September. 28 over Ohio, 70 over Grambling, and then 7 over Texas.
Yeah.
Put them in the final 10 minutes of the fourth quarter. I think Michigan wins the game here. I'm calling it. This is my upset call of the week. If you followed Billy Billions on Twitter, don't follow that guy. I'm 0 for the last 7, Tyler. It's an unbelievable stretch I'm on.
Maybe Billy Billions needs to start trading crypto like the Brian Edwards.
Yeah, I need my Twitter account hacked.
Yeah.
I'm calling the upset on that one.
Yeah, again, and I get it. And again, until proven otherwise, you can just keep riding with Michigan. But I think, and I go back to how much this game clearly affected Ryan Day last year, where he looked like a zombie after that game was over. And look, we all thought they were dead in the water for the playoff. Like, oh, man, that loss is going to linger. They're going to get beat by Tennessee. There's no way they're going to go on the run they went on. They locked back in, won the national championship, and credit them for that. I would like to think that Ryan Day has preached to no end how badly he needs to win this game.
That's the problem. Too much into it.
But here's the thing. I think Ohio State plays their own brand of football tomorrow.
Okay.
I don't think they try and beat Michigan at their game. Yes, it's in Ann Arbor. That's going to be difficult. I don't see it. I think Ohio State is too good. I think they learned their lessons from last year, and I think they win and finish the regular season undefeated.
Also, ranked game at noon. Brian Edwards hit on this. He likes Pittsburgh plus the 6.5. The Panthers are at home. It's going to be cold. He said it could be snow. Miami is in the college football playoff discussion. They're at 12. I also go, I don't know if it's a huge upset. I don't feel like I'm calling the Michigan-Ohio State game.
I'm going Pittsburgh in this game.
Yeah, Pittsburgh's a good team.
Yeah, they are.
And I'm pretty sure I picked this on staff picks as well. I really think, like Pat Narduzzi said, they just weren't as interested in the Notre Dame game, which why they got run out of the building in that one.
He shouldn't have said what he said.
Shouldn't have said that, but you saw the way that they played, and I think there was some truth to that, obviously. And then they went out there and just ran away from Tech early, had to hold on, nearly blew that lead, but that's a good football team. And look, Miami's not good in conditions. They're not used to playing and stuff like that. I think that's an advantage for Pitt. And now Pitt needs to win, and they need Virginia or SMU to lose, but their playoff hopes are still there.
I've sent Tyler a clip of Lane Kiffin going into halftime. There was a brouhaha. It's on your Twitter. Look on your direct messages on Twitter. I want to play that audio. Lane Kiffin is not happy with Mississippi State. They have started the second half. It is 21-10 now at around the 12-minute mark. Mississippi, I believe it is Mississippi has the ball here. Romello Taylor is in, running quarterback, sneaks every play.
Mississippi State.
Huh?
Mississippi State has the ball.
That's what I said. Yeah, Romello Taylor.
Yeah.
Taylor is in as their backup quarterback. We're going to play that audio because Kiffin was not happy at brouhaha. He took a shot at the AD. Tomorrow at 3:30. We've talked about it. A Kiffin decision, right?
Right.
LSU plays at Oklahoma. Oklahoma upset alert. Do we have a Kiffin decision by 3:30? Where do we stand on it? Midday game, LSU. LSU's good enough to win.
They are.
But they're not coached well enough to win. Do you put Oklahoma 11.5 as the spread games in Norman?
Oh, man. That defense is so good for
It is.
Oklahoma,
They're
though.
phenomenal. I didn't give them enough credit. I was wrong.
Yeah, the offense hasn't been the same since Mateer came back from his injury, but I don't see LSU getting past that defense enough.
Okay.
So I go Oklahoma.
Yeah, 11.5 on that. I'll go with you. I just wonder, maybe the big one, do we have a Kiffin announcement by 3:30?
Oh, man.
Kiffin's staying. He's staying. He is staying.
To me, I feel like this is going to happen during the Iron Bowl, where he knows everybody's got all of its attention on Alabama and Auburn. I got Iron Bowl. I think it's going to happen sometime within that window.
Also tomorrow, 3:30. To me, this is the game of the day. I think Michigan, Ohio State's going to be really good, but it's going to be a Midwestern slog fest, and it's going to be 20. I got 20-16 was my pick. Vanderbilt, Tennessee tomorrow. I've got 65.5 is the over/under in that. I think I picked Vanderbilt like 42-38. I'm hoping South Carolina wins, so I'm in the mood to watch football.
Yeah.
And come back to my tailgate and watch it. I'm going Vanderbilt. I took Vanderbilt and Pavia Magic. Vanderbilt Magic's real this year. Where are you going?
Yeah, I go Vanderbilt too. And look, they need style points, right? They're going to need some help. They want to get themselves in the playoffs. Even at 10-2, I think they keep their foot on the gas the entire time and try and make this look as lopsided as possible. And that's a good Tennessee team.
That is.
But yeah, if they can win in Neyland, they don't do a whole lot. I think that goes a long way for their playoff candidacy. I think that's what their focus is on.
That's your big 3:30 games. Tomorrow night, Alabama, Auburn. I want to call the Auburn upset. I want to say that Kalen DeBoer gags this one away. Auburn's got nothing. They got everything to play for, nothing to play for, if you will. It's their Super Bowl. Alabama, I feel like under Kalen DeBoer, crumbles a little bit under pressure. The line's 5.5. I'm going to go Alabama. I took Alabama, but boy, do I, much like Mississippi, Mississippi State, I want to call Auburn on this.
I'm there with you. I want it to be an upset, but I think Alabama's too good. I think it is one of those games that comes down to the last possession because it is in Jordan-Hare, but I think Alabama gets it done at the end of the day.
I think my exact write-up on this actually says something to the effect of it's going to be wild. Yeah, I said it's going to be a wild game. I've got Alabama 34-30 tomorrow. If Auburn wins that game, I am not shocked at all if that is indeed what happens.
Maybe that's what Lane's waiting for.
UCLA, Southern Cal tomorrow night as well. Late night football, if you're into it. Notre Dame and Stanford coming up at 10:30 on ESPN. Again, that is tomorrow night. So we get half of the games today, the rest of the games tomorrow. You get them kind of scheduled out there. We'll come back. I'm going to let you listen to that Lane Kiffin comment. We'll decipher that a little bit, and then we'll get into South Carolina's offense against Clemson's defense, Tyler. We'll look back at last year, and we'll look ahead to this year. You're listening to the Halftime Show.
It is Bill Gunner for Old Timey Meat Market, where I've already said it tomorrow morning. The grill will be going pregame. We're doing some steaks. You want to know where I'm getting the steaks? I can go ahead and tell you. We're getting them from Old Timey Meat Market. We're going to have some bacon. Not just regular bacon, thick cut peppered bacon from Old Timey Meat Market. Whatever it is you're wanting to do tomorrow, if you're a Clemson fan, you want to eat some chicken pregame, guess what? Grill it. Go to Old Timey Meat Market and check out their incredible selection of beef, pork, poultry, even fish. And let me tell you something. Christmas is coming up. If you're in the market for a Traeger grill, the Lexington store is your Traeger home. Whether you need the pellets or whether you need a brand new smoker or grill, the Lexington store is exactly where you need to go. Now, you can also stop by South Congaree or St. Andrews Road in Irmo, but whatever you do, stop by Old Timey Meat Market today and tell them Bill Gunner sent you. Again, a reminder coming up 7 a.m. tomorrow morning, bright and early. Jay's Corner. Be out there with Tyler and Terry. 1015 Rosewood Drive. It'll be Gamecocks game day. We will be ready to get you go for noon kickoff. Bundle up, baby.
Yeah, I'm already planning my layers out accordingly. It's going to be a cold one.
Yeah, bundle up. 803-404-6100. You can weigh in. Mississippi State, the big one that we're keeping an eye on. I don't know. We're really more keeping an eye on it because you just feel like Lane Kiffin could do something quirky just about any moment, and then you never know what's going to happen. It's 21-13. Mississippi has just kicked a field goal. Mississippi has the ball back and has got it around midfield now and was moving. I believe they just called that's going to be a flag on Mississippi State. Never mind. Hands to the face. But we had a little brouhaha in the first half, Tyler Head. The two sides got together to discuss Thanksgiving recipes.
They disagreed on what should go in the cornbread dressing and how long to cook the turkey. And they came to a boil. It was one of those situations where they had to, they're already reviewing a play. They also had to review who was involved, who to get personal fouls on, eject, all that kind of stuff. So, yeah, it took about 5-7 minutes to get things back on track and organized again.
There was the benches kind of cleared. More people came on the field. This is Lane Kiffin at halftime. And Lane Kiffin's just fun to listen to, but here's Lane at halftime explaining how he saw things and maybe a little bit of his surprise.
He is now with Taylor.
Thank you. We just saw you have an extended conversation with the referees. What were you saying?
Well, we just try to play clean football, man. We try to execute and play really good football. For a whole sideline to try to fight and leave their whole sideline, including their athletic director, I've never seen like it. So I'm just reminding them, we're trying to play football here. We're not trying to start a fight so, our university can get credit for fighting people.
How will you address the fighting with your team at half?
Well, we're good. Our guys stay on the sideline like they're supposed to. So we got to execute better in the red zone on offense. We did there at the end. On defense, we calmed down after the beginning, but we need to sustain some drives here and put this game away.
You and I saw the video.
Yeah.
Not all Mississippi players adhered to Lane Kiffin staying on the.
No, they didn't. And again, I couldn't tell who started it necessarily, but no, there were quite a few jabs and whatnot being thrown from the guys in white too. So it wasn't just Mississippi State, doing it to him.
Also, normal to call out the opposing school's AD for a period. I didn't catch that. I haven't. We're doing the show and we're watching the game, and we can't really watch it. But he's saying the AD for Mississippi State appeared on the field too?
I couldn't tell you what that guy looked like if I was watching it on TV, but I'm assuming Lane would know to some degree. So, yeah, that's a first.
We'll keep an eye on this. But Lane Kiffin, you know him, the good guy.
Sure.
We're just here to play good, clean football. We don't want to be accused of fighting. We're just here for football, guys. Stop trying to fight us. Make us the bad guy.
The Egg Bowl's going to Egg Bowl, man. You just got to let it happen.
Scrambled as it is right now. 803-404-6100. Big thing tomorrow. Huge thing. A play that occurred last year. You're all familiar with it. It goes down in Gamecock lore. Seriously, it may be one of the biggest plays in Gamecock history. Top 5. Captain Dave played one of the top 5 moments in South Carolina football history.
3 wide receivers over to the left side. Harbor over to the right. Sellers in the pocket. Up in the pocket. Gonna run inside the 20. 10. Lenore Sellers going left side. 5. Touchdown, Carolina. Touchdown. Touchdown, Lenore Sellers. From 20 yards out. The Gamecocks take the lead at Death Valley.
Incredible play. But 2 pieces. Are they fixed tomorrow for Clemson? Carolina's offense against Clemson's defense. Clemson fans last year after the game were not thrilled with Wes Goodwin, no longer there. Where was Sammy Brown? Why was he constantly not on the field?
Mm-hmm.
2, Clemson last year played a lot of man-to-man defense on South Carolina wide receivers, which, if you know football, you stick to your receiver, you turn your back to the quarterback. When the quarterback takes off running, you're not well aware of what he's doing.
Right.
More Sammy Brown tomorrow.
I would imagine.
And do we see Tom Allen tomorrow go with more zone defense, which I feel like we've seen more from defenses this year, to guard against Lenore Sellers?
Probably so. I think that's at the top of the scouting report. You say, all right, 16's not going to beat us with his feet. We know how dangerous he is, and it does seem like he's gotten a little bit of confidence back these last couple weeks. Where that is at tomorrow, we don't know. But, yeah, I would imagine Tom Allen's watched a lot of that tape from last year. I'm like, okay, here's what we're not going to do. Now, they're down a couple of, interesting defenders in terms of guys that are, they're injured that are pretty significant, and Jaheim Lawson being one of them, one of their guys in the middle there, or one of the guys coming off the edge on defense. That's pretty significant loss. But and one thing that they do well is they do actually have a decent run defense. They've held 4 opponents over under 100 yards this year, 24th in the nation, only about 108 yards allowed. I think it's going to be a struggle for Carolina to run the ball. I do think you still try and put the ball in Sellers' hands as much as possible because he is your best playmaker, and he can go out there and make plays. But, yes, I imagine Tom Allen is going to try his hardest to prevent that from happening.
Dave, let's play cut number 9 right here because this is another part for tomorrow. Cut number 9. This is Mike Furry talking about using Jarwan Howe because part of it, we can't just rely on Lenora Sellers. You got to go to Matthew Fuller and you got to go to Jarwan Howe. Here is Mike Furry on Wednesday, coordinator press conference, talking about Jarwan Howe.
Yeah, I think if you just look collectively at his body of work over the last 3 or 4 weeks, he's practiced really, really well. He's kind of has an edge to him right now, a mentality, that he wants to go out there and perform really well for the guys. And even today at practice, when we were out there today, he was just, rather he's in the backfield with Matt or whatever it is, like there's a little bit of a mindset to him where he wants to do everything he can to help this team, and we've seen the success that he's had on the field. And so obviously excited about his role and what he brings to the table. But I really think it goes back to his demeanor and how he's really approached it over the last 3 weeks, and something that we'll continue to keep looking at as we go through these games.
He has touched the ball 16 times this season. 9 of those have been in the last 2 games. There's clearly something about Jordan Howell that Mike Furry likes, and I expect him to be featured quite prominently tomorrow.
He should be. And again, you've got to utilize those 2 guys to open up the door for Lenora Sellers. You can't just say, all right, Lenoris, we're going to fake this and fake that, and we're going to run you. You've got to do something to open the door for Lenora Sellers. And that's going to, I think, early on, getting Matthew Fuller and Jarwan Howe involved in the game plan to the point that they don't need to pick up 8, 9, 10, 15 yards a carry. If you can get 4, you're off to a good start.
Just something that keeps the defense honest. Because here's the thing. You can throw against Clemson. Clemson's issues on defense have come when it comes to covering receivers. So you can throw against these guys, but talk about balance on offense. You need some kind of balance. It can't just all come through the air, and hopefully that's something they can exploit by using not only Sellers but these other guys in a variety of ways.
803-404-6100. We'll flip it around. We'll talk South Carolina's defense against Clemson's offense when we come back. You're listening to The Halftime Show.
There's going to be a 15-yarder there. No doubt about it. DJ Swearinger, as if he couldn't help himself. He's going to learn a lesson on that one. But did he ever lay out Ellington?
Joe Tessitore, you knew so little back then. To say he couldn't help himself. No! DJ Swearinger could never help himself. He committed 2 personal fouls one time, picked off a pass, ran it back for a touchdown, threw the ball into the stands. I think got a third one.
Yep.
He's what you needed. He was the heart of a defense. Like he was, we talked about this. And no offense to any of the players, no offense to anybody down there. If there's a DJ Swearinger, a singular guy, on that defense against Texas A&M 2 weeks ago, they don't lose the game.
I feel that.
And he's rare.
Yeah.
You don't have dudes like that running around. If there were dudes constantly like that to be recruited, you'd always have them. And there isn't. But two, Joe Tessitore says he's going to learn from that. No, he doesn't. No, he didn't. He never learned from it.
For the context of what that moment meant. Now, again, that didn't win you the game, but it was a significant moment in terms of like, hey, we're here to lay the wood.
Tyler is a person who has watched this rivalry now I'm 43, but has really paid attention since we'll just circle back. We'll round around to 1990. Clemson has a mental advantage, and that's almost why I threw the 5 years of the Spurrier out, the 5 game, because for whatever reason, Spurrier mentally changed South Carolina football.
Sure.
Mentally changed it. And that moment right there is the crescendo moment of the mindset having been changed. It is the crescendo moment. Because quite frankly, I believe it was the next year Clemson came here and outgained South Carolina and actually physically dominated South Carolina, but turned the ball over 5 times.
Yeah, because that was Swearinger was 2012.
Yeah.
And then
13.
The next year was last time you beat him here.
South Carolina won the game. South Carolina won that game in 13. Cooper hit Wilds. We got that. We'll play that clip. But the Swearinger hit on Ellington was the crescendo moment of, we don't care who you are anymore. We're South Carolina, and we're bigger and better and badder than you, and we're going to win. And for 100 and whatever years, that's Clemson's mentality.
Yeah.
And it is today. It is today. It will be tomorrow when they kick off. South Carolina has to find a way to change it again.
Yep. Yeah, and I, again, being here for the last couple of years, I've understood why that moment is so important. Obviously, it's a big, huge moment play within the game. It's a pop play. It's a wow play. It's something that, gets on the Sports Center highlights and all that kind of stuff. But you're right. It was kind of an encapsulation of what that run of teams was that ended up beating Clemson in consecutive years in a row. Obviously had all the success, the greatest success this program's ever seen. But, yeah, all kind of wrapped up in that one little moment against your biggest rival, obviously, in a huge game that year. But, yeah, that is because it was not this past summer, the year before. We were going through, the greatest. We were running the Twitter polls about greatest moments in program history, and that was in there, right? Yeah. And I think it got through a couple rounds.
Yeah, it was the moment. And later in that game, everybody knows old Crazy Legs Crazy Legs Thompson, scrambled on 3rd and 17 for a play that Clemson had no business giving up, and that was the icing on the cake of that game. I think it was 3.5 minutes to go in that game, and South Carolina goes on to win. But South Carolina's never had that mentality against Clemson.
Yeah.
And it never went as bad as it did during the Will Muschamp years, to which I think now this is where I give Shane Beamer great credit. No, the records are not what we would want them to be. 7-6 the first year, 8-5 the second year, 5-7 the third year, 9 in regular seasons, 9-3, 9-4 last year, and 4-7 this year. But I do think that in a way he's not there at the top. He's not completely changed it, but he has changed a mentality against Clemson a little bit. And tomorrow's an opportunity to do that again. And tomorrow it starts on defense, because your defense, your linebackers have been playing better. Yeah. Your secondary has been playing better. Your defensive line has been playing better. And you do have a guy in Dylan Stewart who can change the direction of a game with one play.
Yeah, and By all indications from what Beamer told us earlier on this week, he is on track to play. Now, what health percentage he's at, we don't know exactly, but it seemed like last week was more precautionary than anything else in terms of him being out. And again, I give credit to Dylan Stewart a lot because we go back to a couple weeks ago when he was injured. And we thought, okay, is this the point where he just kind of folds it up, says, all right, we're not playing for anything. Maybe I'm looking to go elsewhere. Let me just wrap it up for the season and preserve myself. He didn't do that. He's still going out there, still playing hard. And if he is healthy and ready to go, then I have no doubt that he's going to go out there and be a big part of this game plan tomorrow. And maybe it's not necessarily him getting to the quarterback, but we talk about it all the time. Taking that attention away, allowing Brian Thomas Jr., allowing Desiu, allowing these other edge defenders, allowing the linebackers to get more run lanes to come through and affect Cade Klubnik tomorrow. Yeah, he's, as always, the straw that stirs the drink when it comes to this team's defense.
And I think that's how South Carolina wins the game tomorrow, is setting the tone early on with their defense. Cade Klubnik is a guy that you can rattle. Is a guy that has not played particularly well against South Carolina. He's not played particularly well in big games, but he's not played well against South Carolina. And Clemson's running game, while I think better from what I saw early in the season, is still suspect. South Carolina's defense can set the tone early on, and I'm not saying make a DJ Swearinger type hit, but you can, if you can make some plays very early on, and then you get a play from your offense, you can get Williams-Brice into a frenzy. You can put Clemson on their heels, and then it's a matter of mindset, which South Carolina tends to not have in this rivalry, to where we are the better team, we can hold on and win.
It's an interesting dynamic because you have one team on one side in Clemson that for a lot of this season has struggled to start games. Remember, they were slow out of the gate against teams like Troy.
Right.
The Syracuse game was really slow out of the gate. And Carolina will come out lightning fast, but then they struggle in the fourth quarter. So which team can put together a full 4 quarters of football? And I get it. Both teams have been able to show that at times this year, but it's not been a consistent thing. Whichever team can put together a full 4 quarters tomorrow, I think is probably the one that wins this game.
And I'll say this as well for tomorrow. And it does. I think it matters, Tyler, and you tell me if it doesn't. No offense to Clemson, and this isn't, well, the SEC versus the ACC, although it is. South Carolina's played Mississippi. They've played Alabama. They've played Oklahoma. You know, they've played these top teams. No offense to Clemson. You're not that team anymore. You're not that guy. Conceivably, now that we're here, this is the 8th weakest game you've played on your schedule. You're ranking me here, following me. South Carolina State being 12, Coastal being, so 9. Coastal Carolina being 12, South Carolina State being 12, Coastal Carolina being 11, Kentucky being 10. Clemson would be 9.
Okay. I think
that's fair. That's fair. That's
fair.
not Homer talk.
Yeah, I think that's fair. And again, we saw
South Carolina 3-0. Oh, and Virginia Tech. I'd put Virginia Tech would be Virginia Tech. That's why I had them at 8. I'm sorry, Virginia Tech would be 9
behind Clemson. So yeah, I think that's a fair assessment. Carolina's definitely been battle tested this year, and again, they didn't get blown out in all those games. You had a lead on Alabama in the fourth quarter. You had a lead on Missouri in the fourth quarter. You've been in a lot of these games that you ultimately, obviously we know what happened against A&M. So, there is something to be said for that, and how that translates to playing Clemson, we'll see tomorrow. I think it's going to be a back and forth tight game all the way down the wire. I think it gets a little bit weird. I think we're going to see some things we weren't expecting to see. What that is, I don't know, but it kind of has the makings of that because you have two teams that weren't the versions of themselves that we thought they were going to be at this point in the season.
Yeah, it's, again, these things never turn out the way we expect them to. I'm learning that year by year by year by year, that these games never are what we expect them to be in August. They are something totally different when we get to November. And nobody, boy, I don't know what the numbers you would have gotten on betting or how you would have even arrived at betting numbers like this. The numbers you would have gotten for a 6-5 Clemson and a 4-7 South Carolina.
I don't think anybody saw it coming.
And by the way, I think, just for the record, too, on gambling, Brian Edwards told us at the beginning of the year, I could be wrong on this, that like those big season matchups where they look way down the line, Clemson was a 5.5-point favorite in August. Obviously, what I'm looking at here, take it for what it's worth, ESPN Bet this afternoon has South Carolina at a 3.5-point favorite. I think Brian Edwards said he was seeing it more at 3.
Yeah, but Carolina's the favorite anyway, and I can't even think the last time that Clemson would have been a dog in this rivalry. It's been a while.
I'm just going with 2013.
Probably.
2014, South Carolina was struggling and went up there. I'll go with 2013. 803-404-6100. We'll come back. Captain Dave might have one final rant in him. You're listening to the Halftime Show. Mississippi driving for the dagger. I didn't see it. Did they get the touchdown?
Yeah, they got a touchdown. It's 31-13.
Ball game.
That's pretty much a wrap. So
We'll close the book on that. Get ready for Georgia Tech coming up in about 40 minutes. I don't expect anything great from that. I think Georgia rolls. I think Tech is not playing their best football at this time of the year. I think Georgia is, and I think that 8 overtime game last year.
Yeah,
Georgia a little more alert about Tech.
I don't think they're sleeping on them by any means
than they were last year. Some kind of major news in the recruiting industry. Okay, you ready for this? You don't follow recruiting like I do you?
Not as intently as you do.
Okay. I know Wes and Chris do, and I know Wes and Chris not only follow it intently, but they're a little more. I don't want to say they're a little more into South Carolina, but they keep up with everything. But Steve Whitfong. Now, I'm not saying Steve is the best of all time. I know Steve does a good job. He's plugged in. Why am I telling you this? Steve Whitfong has put in a prediction.
Mm-hmm.
Take it for what it's worth, Tyler. You know how these things are. 5-star quarterback and one of the top 3 players in the country, Jared Curtis, is going to flip his commitment from Georgia to Vanderbilt.
Yeah, it's been trending for a little while.
This goes on top of the news yesterday. The lovely Thanksgiving news. Clark Lee will now be getting a significant raise and has signed an extension.
Yeah, because Vanderbilt had a quarterback that was committed that was pretty high profile. He decommitted a couple weeks ago. There was a lot of smoke around Georgia that Jared Curtis was leaning more towards Vanderbilt. Again, there's a lot of NIL and those kind of components kind of baked in here. So, yeah, I guess now it's officially, or when he announced it, it'll be official. But, yeah, when Wilt Fong says it, it's usually going to happen. So, yeah, this has kind of been trending that way for a while. But, yeah, now that you know that Clark Lee is definitely going to be there, you go ahead and say, all right, I'm coming. But, yes, Vanderbilt looks like they're on the cusp of landing a 5-star quarterback.
Well, not just a 5-star one. I mean,
yeah, could literally, because, again, Pivey is done.
Right. Like we assume, unless he wants.
I've
given up on trying to.
He could sue the NCAA again, but Jared Curtis is thought to be a guy that can slide in there and start right away, like next year.
Right.
That's the thought.
Just FYI on that. So Clark signs. It feels like that one is pretty secure, right?
Yeah, that one. Again, he's alumni. Like, it makes sense. Yeah, he's not going anywhere.
Matt Rule is signed. It feels like he's still in play a little bit.
Even though Nebraska, and I get it, Dylan Riley got hurt, but Nebraska ain't been playing good football since they signed him.
Florida, as it's come across, is basically now, how do you think Florida feels today? Like, are they jilted? Are they happy that this Kiffin process is over and they can move on? Because it appears Florida is now, it's coming out, they have now accepted there will be no Lane Kiffin. And by the way, let me go back to it. Eli Drinkowitz signs a contract extension and a raise.
And he was thought as a top candidate.
Is he?
He's not going anywhere. He's staying.
Okay.
Feel pretty confident saying that. But, yeah, Florida's like, all right. And it was kind of trending more towards LSU Ole Miss anyway. So I think Florida's like, all right, let's go ahead and drop out of this. And, when a presidential candidate sees they're not polling well, and they're like, I'm going to drop out of the race. That's what Florida's doing here, which is probably in their best interest.
Okay. So we'll see how it all kind of plays out. I'm very interested to see some of these younger coaches. John Summerall, Ryan Silverfield, Eric Morris is going to Oklahoma State.
Yep.
Bob Chesney from James Madison, who looks ready and who goes and does their thing. And we'll get a lot into that next week because who knows, Tyler, when we show back up on Monday, aside from South Carolina Clemson, what we're discussing.
Yeah, well, hopefully, first of all, we are discussing a South Carolina win to at least wrap up the season with a victory of arrive on the upstate. And I don't know about you, man. I just feel like this is going to be a weird game. I feel like we're going to see some weird things, weird scores, weird plays. Like, again, these two teams were thought of to be some of the best in college football before the season. Neither one of them is that right now, and I think tomorrow's game is going to reflect that.
I think tomorrow I am taking South Carolina. No shocker. It's not really any message board or Twitter type material. I know everybody's shocked. What I think is going to happen is both offenses are going to stumble and bumble their way through this game, kind of like you said, to create things that happen where you're like, what just transpired there? Yeah. I've got this game playing out. I'm trying to look for my score prediction on thebigspur.com. 28-24.
Okay.
I've got 28-24. Again, my personal opinion is that both teams stumble and bumble their way kind of through this game offensively. Defensive step up. That's mine. You went with?
I went 24-22 South Carolina.
Captain Dave, where do we go? Final thoughts.
Let's rename Clemson Road and Clemson Avenue. They do not belong in this town. Thank you very much.
Score prediction? No. 90-0.
3,000 to nothing.
There you go.
It's aggressive. It's aggressive. Y'all have a great weekend. There's going to be so much to talk about, not just about this game, but coaching searches and everything. We'll see you on Monday.
Tyred here for our friends over at Pro Swing Columbia. 2 locations, one out at Forest Drive and one out in, or Forest Acres and one out in Chapin. They've got everything you need for the ultimate indoor golf experience. Golf Zone simulators. As it's getting cold outside, you don't be out there on the actual course. You can play at courses all over the world on those simulators, rent by the hour, and they have memberships available as well. You can also work on just being a better golfer while you're there, as they have a free 30-minute swing evaluation where they use the OnFord coaching app during those evaluations and lessons to give you before and after video of your swing, as well as some drills to work on particular aspects of your swing to make you a better golfer. They also have club fittings and are a tailor-made dealer as well. You can get discounted rates to practice and play at Pro Swing if you're actively taking lessons. You can book online at proswingcolumbia.com or give them a call at 803-592-3916. Pro Swing Columbia in Forest Acres and in Chapin.
I was going to tag. I'm just going to real quick put out Brian Edwards' thing, and I was going to tag him in the tweet, and I was like, oh, wait.
What up, dudes?
What's up? What up?
Clark Lee even re-upped. Man.
Hey, Nashville's good.
Hey, you know what, though? Honestly.
Florida's going to look at the janitor and be like, you ever coached football before?
Hey, Urban.
Well, actually,
Urban.
if Kiffin stays at Ole Miss, LSU doesn't seem to have a backup.